African sports guy, he's on the ball. African sports guy, he stands so tall. From the pitch to the court, he's got the vibe. African sports guy, keeping it alive. African sports guy, he's on the ball. African sports guy, he stands so tall.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to African Sports Guy. We are back. We're officially back. Back like we never went away. We went to throw us throw us summer break. But we're back, guys. We're back. How are you doing, Fari? My partner in crime, Fari. How are you doing?
I'm good, my guy. There's lots to talk about since we took our break. I think it was good to energize. We took some time off, sorted out some life stuff. Now we're ready to talk about uh, impending Premier League, basketball, World Cup podcast. We're ready to talk about it all.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. The World Cup is in your background, right? In your backyard. How's it going?
It's been interesting, man. What I will say, it's been nice to be able to watch all the games because of the time zone. You can watch games 9 a.m. and then you can even watch like 7 p.m., especially on the West Coast. So you're watching all the games the entire time. It's well built for an American audience who are like either getting into it or it's like being able to watch all the games in your waking hours is a blessing.
Okay, cool.
It's huge.
Man, and how's the atmosphere, man? Because a lot of the time, right? Like one thing that I've seen, like from the outside looking in, of course, because we're on the outside,
Mm.
a lot of fans have gone away. They thought that this World Cup was going to be horrible, right? They thought that America was going to be preoccupied with other things. They wouldn't give a damn about Bora. But like I remember, like watching this documentary on Kansas City. I was like literally adopted the national teams. Like the flags of those teams are like out in the shops. People are able to come and like hang out. The fans are able to come and hang out. People are super friendly. Like there's been very, very, very few incidents of like any nonsense. Like most of it, that people are like just overwhelmed by how friendly America is, how hospitable they are, how loving they are. Even for instance, even Iran, like Iran, when they were coming into America, people thought that they were going to be booed and stuff like that, and going to be racist, and because of the ongoing war and stuff. But even they were warmly welcome. So I just want to ask, what's the atmosphere like? I know LA is a huge city, so maybe it's not as apparent as the smaller cities like Kansas City, for instance. But what's the atmosphere like being in America during like this World Cup event and stuff?
I think it's been really exciting. Obviously, I'm a Border fan. I've been watching the game for as long as I've been alive. So, I had low expectations on how the American audience would take it. Um, but I'm not surprised that, uh, especially places like Kansas City and Seattle, right? I'm not surprised that those places are really bought into it because those Kansas City in particular, but especially Seattle, especially for Border, because Seattle's had one of the oldest MLS teams in the Sounders. Those cities are great sports cities. They love their sport. Kansas City Chiefs, Midwest, Seattle, Pacific Northwest, they are big sports cultures. So if you give them football, which they have, they'll love it. If you give them baseball, if you give them now border like soccer, they will go all out and they really embrace it. And I think it really opens the eyes for teams like, they don't know about Algeria, so they get all into it. And it's really a festive mood. Um, and then even when you talk about Iran, when they played in LA, it's probably the best place they could have played because there's such a huge Iranian population in LA. So they had huge support, coming into this with the backdrop of what's going on in the Middle East. It was really great to see that sports was just sport, and like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the journalists kept asking questions about politics, but like on the field or whatever, it was just
I
like
thought
a
that
really
was so
cool,
grimy, by the way. I thought that was so
yeah.
grimy. I thought that was
It's
so
just
grimy.
opportunist
So
journalists,
grimy.
just
So
like, and
grimy.
I
So
felt bad for
grimy.
these players because it's like, they are here to play the game. They were this close. They were 30 seconds away, 90 seconds away from getting
From
into the next
qualified.
round. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Switzerland
yeah.
somehow found Austria found a goal from
Yeah,
nowhere, whatever.
Australia. Yeah.
But um, all in all, I think it's been really exciting. I think the games have also been interesting,
Very, very
like
good. Yeah. Very
really
good games.
exciting.
Yeah. Besides
Miami,
Argentina, really every other game has been every other every other teams have every other games have been so competitive and exciting, and there's been a bit of
well,
controversy, but
yeah.
the besides Argentina cheating or like the officials cheating for Argentina, everything else has been really exciting.
In fairness, though, that does bring ice to it because it becomes a talking point. It becomes a talking point for post game. Argentina has gone late into what last 3 or 4 games, right? Extra time or what, like they've been pushed. We'll talk about that soon. But like it gets eyes on these things, and I think in the expanded tournament, is it working? In my eyes, yes. In this current scenario with the US and how it worked, I think this is the tick in the success category.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
You know what? I've loved this tournament. It's been exciting. I don't think I've watched a boring match so far. As I said, besides the Argentina stuff that gets you frustrated and stuff, which is just blatant cheating. I don't think the Argentinian team itself is cheating, by the way. I just think the officials, but we'll get into that. But besides that, right? I think everything else has been fantastic. I mean, like I watched Australia versus Canada, right? And that was an exciting match, bro. And like honestly, if you had said to me, I'm gonna be watching Australia versus Canada
yeah,
playing football, playing border, right? I would be like, dude, look, that's gonna be a snow fest. I'm gonna be, but the Socceroos were exciting, very, very exciting, very attacking, very exciting stuff. They were trying to win, and they should have won that game. And it was very, very Canada. What a surprise! I didn't think they were gonna get out of their group, but I mean, they were exciting. Out of the three teams, actually, Mexico was the most disappointing. To be quite fair with you, but America was exciting. I loved America. Besides the nepotism, but anyway, besides that, the bit of corruption there by say Donald Trump. Besides that, everything else was. I've enjoyed the tournament. Full stadiums, and
yeah,
for me, I think this just shows you. Look, I know, for instance, right, that the South African when the World Cup came to South Africa, it was all good and stuff, right? But I think that if your economic situation, like when they went to Brazil, for instance, when the economics of the country are so dire, they're not great. Most of the people are unemployed. Like South Africa's got like 40% unemployment. Brazil something similar, right? And so when you've got that situation, right, then it's not great. The tournament is never gonna be as fun. You know what I'm saying? When people are
mhm,
starving, you know what I'm saying? It's great to sort of like advertise the country and stuff like that. So like so I think like Russia, South Africa, Brazil, yeah, they were good World Cups, but if you compare them to like Qatar and the States, now, and I think Portugal, Spain, and Morocco again are gonna be exciting as well. Those places where they don't have to build new stadiums, where they don't have to like break the bank with the economics. The tournament is pure profit. People can just
mhm,
really, and it's like a celebration of football. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, if FIFA was gonna go in there and then invest in communities and do all sorts of things like the 4 years leading up until the World Cup, then that would make sense to me. Like if FIFA was building the stadiums, you get what I'm saying? So like if FIFA was
yeah,
building the stadiums in the country, like the country's not like sacrificing like for instance, Brazil had to build that stadium in Manaus, right? Manaus in the middle of the
Manaus.
rainforest. Now there's like
Mhm,
Chibage in the middle of the field, but there's like maize in the middle of it. It's like useless. It's in the middle of the rainforest somewhere. Some administrator somewhere came up with some idea to spread tourism to the middle of the Amazon, and it's useless. So you look at even the stadium in Mpumalanga in South Africa, right? The north
mhm,
in the northwest there, right? It's useless, right? That stadium is always empty. During the World Cup, it was empty. When there's no team that's there that actually plays football there, that's a big team.
mhm,
It's a tiny, tiny, tiny place. The most of the population is in Joburg, Cape Town, Durban, right? In those areas, that's where most of the people live, right? And so
yeah,
for you to have put the stadium in the northwest with billions of rands, it makes no sense, right? And it was a waste of money. So I
yeah,
think like America has been I've enjoyed it, and I've loved the how like it's been fun, man. Just and it's also even the delusional nature of the American fans is exciting
yeah,
as well. I saw this debate of these two, the American guy and a British guy, and they were debating about American football and football, right? And
yeah,
and it was something I never thought about, where the guy was like, well, they're not enough scores in soccer compared to American football, blah 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 blah. And the guy was like, "What are you talking about? Imagine if soccer, right? So let's say a match finishes 3-2 in football in soccer, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if you added 5 points per goal,
Right.
right? It'll be 15-10, right? Just like
Yeah.
a normal American football game, right? If you take away the like 5 points
The
for a
amounts. Yeah. That's true.
yeah, it'd be like 3-1 or 2-1 or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
It'd be the same.
Yeah.
Literally be the
Yeah.
same, right? So that so anyway, it's exciting stuff. I just I've enjoyed the whole. I think it's been a good World Cup. It's been a good World Cup, except for a little bit of politics with Trump putting Balogun. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think you brought up an interesting point about like FIFA and the stadiums, and I think I think FIFA likes these kinds of World Cups in places where they don't have to do anything, right? So in Europe, in America, right? They're basically like, we don't have to worry about stadiums. We don't have to worry about attendance. We All we need to do is get the rest of things going. So to them, it's pure profit. And I think to me, if there is one critique I have, it's like, you know, you're 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 saying you're the world's game, but you're only supporting your. It's not if you're not going to invest in it, like you said, build stadiums for these places, right? Then it's always going to come back to these
Germany, England,
superpowers. You
Europe,
know what I'm saying? Yeah,
America.
these places that are established that have the infrastructure or whatever. So I think it's a double-edged sword. It's really great that you can come to the Americas that has an established system. The travel stuff is not issue. The stadiums, the resources are plentiful. You know what I mean? Um, but it still disenfranchises. Like, will we ever have a World Cup tournament in West Africa? You know, when you have Senegal, you have like
Ivory Coast,
Nigeria,
Burkina
Ivory
Faso,
Coast. You have these teams that are
Nigeria,
all there. It's like,
Ghana.
are we
Yeah,
going to ever have that? Like, I don't see it because that's infrastructure based. And unless FIFA wants to put money, like wants to give away the money that they're making, then that's not going to happen. So it's going to go to places that have been before. So I could see South Africa getting it again. You know what I'm saying? I could see Brazil getting it again, right? Because it's like, all right, you guys already made the investment. Now you're just cutting them chibage out of the stadium, doing a bit of patchwork, tudzuk. You know what I'm saying? So like every 10 years, every 3 or 4 tournaments, we'll look into one of these small leagues. But it's like them opening it up. Maybe Australia. I could see them maybe going to Australia, right? Like Australia, New Zealand area. But again, it's like places that are financially stable, to your point,
yeah,
where they make the most profit. And I think to me that's good and bad. It's good because it makes the tournament flawless and you can get through it and you can watch these things. It's bad because it ultimately keeps the gap between the haves and the have-not in some form of fashion. You're not going to have Cape Verde's never going to have a World Cup match in their country. You know what I'm saying? Or like,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you're never going to have uh, maybe Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco. Maybe they could swing something up there. But
Oh, Morocco's got one.
yeah, so like it's possible, but
I think do you know how much money FIFA makes from these World Cups, right?
I
They
do
make
not.
billions of dollars, right? They make a
Yeah,
couple of billion. I think it's something like 5 to 6. Nobody really knows the figure. Some people say about 7 billion. Some people are like it's like 3, 4 billion. It's definitely over 2 billion, right? They make 2, 3 billion
yeah,
every World Cup, right? And already they're making loads of money from these tournaments and everything. So for me, like if I'm FIFA, if it's fine to have it in Germany, UK, Brazil, UK, America, places like that. I think it's fine, right? But for instance, Australia and like for instance, you said Nigeria, right? Nigeria, Ghana, that area, then West Africa, West Ivory Coast, Senegal, Burkina Faso, those are the places, right? Those places have got way more fans of football than Australia does. Australia and New Zealand does
right,
by far, like loads. So imagine if FIFA goes into Burkina Faso, for instance, they say, "Fine, cool, we're going to Burkina Faso. We're gonna build you. How many stadiums do you guys have? Oh, we've got maybe 3 or 4. Fine, we'll build one in Burkina Faso. We'll build you guys a stadium there. The national stadium will expand it. We'll make it dope. We'll do development around the area. Right? It'll cost us maybe 300, 400, 500 million US dollars. Then you go
yeah,
into Nigeria, do the same thing. You go to Ghana, do the same thing. And then those tournaments can actually be held in those areas, right? They can actually be held there because what you're doing there, right, is then you're actually using an excuse to go and develop the kind of thing, right? FIFA have the cash to do this. I think they're one of the most. I think besides now the modern companies like Amazon, Google, whatever. But before that, I think besides those traditional companies, they're the most cash rich organization on earth. They have the most
Mm.
cash on earth. They have loads and loads of money, FIFA. Loads of money, billions and upon billions of dollars, right? And they never use it. Like it's just,
Well, I mean, but
yeah.
that's like to your point. If we're talking about Amazons and whatever the rich companies, Facebook, whatever, Meta, FIFA is doing the same model where it's profit first, right? Because ultimately, what like what does FIFA hope to gain by expanding it to Burkina Faso, by expanding it to Ghana? What does
You want
FIFA gain from that?
you want to gain a new market. That's number one. It's if you're talking about economics, right? You gain a new market, right? But I think
But
if it's according to the FIFA charter, you are developing football in that area. Because look,
right,
you
but
can't
here's the
deny
thing.
that if you invest in infrastructure, you build a new stadium, you're creating employment for the local people, and you're gonna create a better environment for playing football for the locals, right? That's what FIFA's job is, isn't it?
Well,
To
that's my
develop the
point.
game.
It's a charter, but the reality is, are they following a charter? Because here's the thing: if you're making billions of dollars, right, doing what you're doing, and then someone says, "Yeah, but you need to expand the game more." Like with my kids, I bought them soccer balls, I bought them a soccer net, whatever, and like I'm doing that because I'm incentivized to give them an opportunity to develop, right? I want them to be exposed to these things. I want these things to happen. I'm invested in that. But if someone pays me not to do that and says, I'll pay you money to just sit on there and do podcasts, don't worry about your kids or whatever. What's my motivation to actually do that? And for me, that's the thing with FIFA. What's FIFA's motivation to actually expand the game apart from saying, hey, we need to expand the game? Because here's the thing,
That's
like
their
to your
job.
point,
That's
to
literally
your
what they do
point,
for a living.
no, their job is to make money. You've said it, like the fact that they're the most cash rich company, their job is to keep profiting. In a world of commerce, the job is to profit. Your point is very valid. Australia, New Zealand has far less spans than Burkina Faso, Togo, or Senegal, right? But if
Yeah.
you're looking for who's going to make you more money, right? In terms of ticket sales, in terms of tourism, flying people there, Australia and New Zealand 100% are going to make more money. So you're going
Yeah,
to
of course.
prioritize development for the Socceroos, and you watch in the next couple of years, it's probably going to go there, you know. And they're going to say we're expanding the game to. They'll probably give a game to,
Fiji.
because Australasia, yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, so they'll build it on like, Samoa, an island somewhere, and that's expansion,
Maybe,
that's
maybe,
development.
maybe not Fiji. Maybe Indonesia or something like that.
Yeah,
Or who's near
something
Australia? Is it Indonesia or
associated to
Philippines?
Philippines is fairly close, but I think
It's
there's
far,
Eurasia.
but there's a,
There are places basically anywhere that the Australians travel to. So maybe like I could see like Thailand or something, like put it in Bangkok, in not Bangkok, in Phuket, a resort town that has a football thing that's like a quick flight from. You know what I'm saying? It's like that can be more profitable because you're having affluent people with money, willing and able and excited to go to these places. And so
yeah.
I, I think part of what you and I have to take into account, we're not afraid to say we're going to go to Burkina Faso. I've been to Burkina Faso. We're not afraid to go to Senegal. We're not, we're going to a place and it's like, great, we can learn their culture, we can try their food. A lot of the people with money would much rather go to the Americas, um, the Argentinas, right? The romanticized Europe, Europe itself, Europe proper, developed Asia and Australia. So again, if you're looking at this from a profit point of view, right? As incentive aside, if your if your upfront mandate is to develop, but your back mandate is profit, 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 right?
Yeah.
That's why like this talk of expansion is a very interesting one because like is expansion compensating for not developing in other countries? If you're saying, hey, we're going to expand because we are not going to go to Burkina Faso, but they can qualify now. Now Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Nigeria, Togo can qualify. So we're giving them the opportunity to play on the world stage, but we are not going to actually go to these places because it's not going to make us as much money. So it's a very double-edged
Yeah.
thing for me.
Yeah, look, I think expanding is just is nonsense. I think it's enough. I have enjoyed the bigger World Cup. I think it makes more sense. I mean, more
Mm,
African teams make more sense. But I think that there's a threshold of quality that must be met, right? Because you don't want to watch China versus India, at the World Cup, football World Cup. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be very entertaining. Maybe it's good for the Chinese and the Indians, but for in terms of quality of football for teams, because that's what's going to happen, right? You're going to get more countries like that, where because if Asia suddenly gets another 10, 15 spots, whatever it is,
yeah,
Africa is good because Africa has got a lot of quality teams, right? So if you look at Nigeria didn't go to the Cameroon didn't go. Cameroon's a quality
yeah,
team. So is Nigeria is a quality team. Zambia is a quality team. Angola is a
hmm,
quality team, right? Kenya sometimes, right? So you've got a few teams, maybe 4 or 5 teams that could have gone to the World Cup that are good quality on the level of South Africa, on the level of Cape Verde, on the level of Algeria, right? Maybe not Morocco, maybe not Morocco, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, that
yeah,
type. But certainly, Nigeria, Zambia as a past, they won the Africa Cup of Nations before.
yeah.
Cameroon is one the Africa. So those teams that could have. So I think expanding in Africa, I think makes sense. I think Europe is at its threshold, right? I think it's at
Yeah.
its threshold. I think South America maybe can do one or two more teams in South America that might be fine. Asia, I think the quality I think is done.
But
Because I
here's the
think
thing,
beyond
Siba.
the Irans and the Qatars and the Saudi Arabias, I think if you're now going to Afghanistan and things like that, then with all due respect, the quality now of the opposition goes way, way, way down. So I
Right, but
don't
here's the
think
thing,
there is
Siba.
enough space for 16 teams. I don't think there's enough space for
Here's the
16
thing.
teams.
My argument to that would be like, if we're looking at Premier League, like I don't know the
Yeah.
sales numbers, but I guarantee you, Manchester United sells a lot of jerseys in China,
Yep.
right? They
Yeah.
probably sell a lot of jerseys in India, right? So
Yeah.
if you then say, and these are populations that there's a disparity between wealth and like there's a huge income gap, but the haves have, right?
Yeah.
So if you then say, hey guys, we're expanding it and you guys are going to be able to come and support your team, that's a revenue stream that's expanding. So that's what I'm saying. It's like for if I'm FIFA, right? Because I hear what you're saying and I agree. But if I'm FIFA and I'm trying to spin this, I'm going to be like, okay, boys, this is what we do. We expand to China, we expand to India, and this is our ticks in development. We're going to add a few to Africa, right? Maybe add two more teams to Africa, three teams to Africa. Then we're going to make it easier for the Indias and the Chinas and the Singapores to get into there. All three of those things are wealthy, have countries that have wealth, right? India, Singapore, right? And China, all countries that have wealth, right? But it's still expansion. You're saying, hey, we're expanding the game to these places that, even though the quality may not be there, we're giving them 4 years to get their quality up. And FIFA looks like the good guy because it shows that we're expanding to Singapore. Singapore has never made the World Cup. We're expanding to China, the biggest country in the world. Da, da, da. Meanwhile,
China. China.
your bank account, FIFA is
Look,
doing
it
is
make
it's
it
ticking
make
both
more money.
boxes.
It make more money.
Mhm.
It make more money. But look, I
Right.
think the next generation of World Cup will definitely be Asia. I think that's what's going to happen, right? Because I mean, it's been hi Faith, how you doing, mate? You good? You good? You good? I think that the next World Cup will definitely be in Asia. I think. Anyway, before we go on to the match tonight, right? Lenmo Janasi, the lawsuit. Man, so just for a quick recap, right? Lenmo Janasi is a Zimbabwean comedian, and we've been following the story very closely because as we are Zimbabwean, well, that guy is American, so he's American,
Ah.
although he wants to deny it. Although
Babu.
he's wearing the Mavugo cap, he's American. Don't be fooled, guys, American guy. So, what's been happening is that he made a joke on Godfrey. Is it Godfrey something? I forget what his name is,
Yeah, yeah.
but he's an American comedian, right? And this guy, American comedian, he's a guy who makes a fun of like accents and cultures and stuff. That's his spiel, right? And so Lemo Janasi literally translated the words of the Lion King, I think everybody knows that the one I'm talking about, right? And so, he said that it actually means, look, there's a lion, which is true, literally, but of course, metaphorically, it means something else. So the creator of that song, the co-creator, the co-writer, the writer of that song went and then sued Lemo Janasi, and it was a great thing for him because he's never, he catapulted him to fame and fortune. He made a lot of money, right? And it's Lebo M, yeah, Lebo M. I'm trying to remember that the Cyber guy's name, Lebo M.
Level, yeah,
So yeah, so he sued him for, was it 27 million US dollars. So
yeah.
finally, anyway, so for those who don't know, so it was dismissed. It was completely dismissed, and so now the judge is not going to make a judgment of how much Lebo M has to pay Lemo Jonasi for his lawyer fees and stuff like that. So, but it's been dismissed as a frivolous lawsuit. So now, yeah, so now Lebo M is going to have to pay. Well,
Wow. Like,
not pay
pay for the lawyer fees.
Lenmo,
Pay
but
for
he's
the
going to
lawyer
pay for
fees.
the lawyer, yeah, pay
Yeah,
lawyer
yeah.
fees.
And here's the
Yeah,
thing: this stuff isn't cheap. Like lawyer fees are not cheap. So now you're going from just taking the cake on the face and being all right. I'm done. I'm done. Okay, you get your joke. To now forking out your own money, right? To then just squash the guan altogether. I think this is a really. Here's the thing: if I'm level M, I'm calling my spin doctors. I'm like, guys, how do we spin this? How do I get Lenmo Janasi money right now? Because homeboy has been going like this. Meanwhile, people are like,
yo,
they're laughing at me. So I think this is vindication for. I think it's vindication for comedians, right? To be like, your job is to be a comedian. We cannot be afraid to do these things, and we cannot be afraid to laugh at ourselves. And I'm happy the American court was like, this is nonsense. Because
yeah,
had
it's
it been in
nonsense. Yeah.
Africa, Africans might have been like, this is nonsense. Even South Africans were like, come on, level, let's
Yeah,
respect these
nobody
things,
cared about the issue.
right?
Nobody cared about that issue.
But
Yeah,
America,
because
there's this whole thing about Americans might be like sensitive to it and like, oh my God, maybe he's gonna get money. And the judge was like, no, there's no guan here. I've checked. This is what it means. So he didn't say anything. He didn't lie. He's not saying. He's not. It's not like the words said. It's not like he said, "I am the king of the jungle. You must all pay me lots of money." He didn't. He didn't falsely translate it. He just translated it in a meaning that didn't align with what Level M wanted. And now
and
he's
even if he did lie, you'd be joking. It's a joke, right?
jokes are hard, Baba.
It's yeah, it's a joke, bruv. Even if he was, because I mean, comedians are meant to do funny things, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
you can see the premise of the joke, right? That you're thinking something spiritual and wonderful and great, right? But it actually doesn't mean it's very literal. And I mean, like if you did that to every single song, right? Because me and we all listen to like Amapiano and stuff like that, and we don't speak the local languages and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And even we used to study classical music and stuff as well, and a lot of the
Oh
stuff that
yeah.
sounds
The
so
German.
profound, right? And you're like, it's in German or it's in Latin or whatever. You don't know the literal meaning of that. It could be very, very simple, right? But when
Yeah.
you sing it out loud with choral music and all that kind of stuff, it's very extravagant, right? And
Mhm.
actually, I'm in the journey. I'm actually learning Zulu at the moment, right? On Duolingo, right?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is I'm finding it's just ridiculous, bro. Like you know what rice is?
No.
Raisi. You know what like chocolate is?
It's okay.
Yeah, chocolate. You know, it's like all this stuff, bro. Like even
But Siba,
like
yeah.
gurube is like gurube. You know,
Oh,
like a pig,
like a pig.
right? It's
Yeah.
not like it's not that like mystical. You know, it's not that mystical. All these languages, we're just we're the same,
I mean,
bro. It's just
I'm at the stage where I'm teaching my kids, trying to teach my kids Shona, the limited Shona that I know, you know. But then I started looking up, okay, how do I say this? And then you look it up and you're like, just put an E in front of it, you know, ma this, ma that, or and it's
or
like, yeah,
right? ETA,
T's, yeah,
yeah,
right.
ETA,
So,
right?
but in fairness, these are also things that are modern. These are also things that were created after the dominance of these civilizations. Let's be honest. There was no chocolate tea, there was no tea, there was no microwave, there was no vacuum. Back when the kings Shaka and those guys were doing that, back when the Roshi kingdom was big, so they don't have words for these things. Now, when you get
Yeah,
into the poetry of things, like there's a phrase that I heard the other day. Apparently, there's a new hurdles. The track and field coach for West Virginia or something like that is a Zimbabwean, white Zimbabwean guy. they asked him philosophy, and he's like, "Oh, my philosophy is the same as Kirsty Coventry. They were friends or whatever." And he's like, Ubuntu. He's talking about Ubuntu.
Yeah,
Like, oh, what
Ubuntu.
is
Yeah,
Ubuntu? But it's like the term munu munu nevanu, right? Munu munu
Sisonke, Sisonke
nevanu,
Ubuntu.
right?
Yeah,
It's like
together.
togetherness,
Yeah,
So it's like that. If you talk about translation, munu munu nevanu, right? It's like person with people. Right? That's the literal person with people. Munu, a person, munu, a person, nevanu. But it also means a person is a person with through people. A person becomes you are you become you through unity. That's what the other translation is. So there's poetry to it, and I think in Level M's defense, right, you can kind of, if you're looking for translation, which is the issue with translations. Now I watch some anime, and you watch some, like, I've watched some Brazilian movies. Now I can watch it. I can read the subtitles, but I can understand a bit, and you can tell when these translations
the
they're
mystery.
taking
It's not the
liberties,
right.
right?
Yeah, they're
They're
taking
taking
liberties with
liberties
translations.
there. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So it's
yeah.
like there is a certain level of, like, as a translator, you have to hold the doctrine, the magic, there's magic there, right? But if someone says, all right, tell me an influential quote, munu munu neban, right? What is that about? It's Ubuntu, it's togetherness. Okay, what does it mean? Person, people. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that? But it's the poetry, and I think that's what, especially now, it's funny because I think being Zimbabwean, growing up in Zimbabwe at a time when Zimbabweans were not about Shona, right? Like our generation, we're not as pro language, pro our language, pro, like, we're a bit more salala, a bit more like, no, we're going to America, we're going to England, we're going to Australia. We don't need this. Now having taking lessons, finding a mfundisi to teach me these things, and then, like, realizing what the poetry pan up, like the poetry, the the way the words are used, the connection. There's such poetry in a language, and I think a lot of these languages, like Duolingo, these apps, right, strip that away because you can't really you're getting, how are you, what
There's
are
no
you doing?
context. There's no
There's
context.
no
There's no
context.
context.
There's no. Whereas, meanwhile, I'm
Nuance.
watching. I know Zanim Mugabe, who does he does the
Tinashe
tendency.
Mugabe, DNA show,
Yeah, sure. So my
DNA
teacher
show.
gave my teacher was like, Shawai, you need to watch most Zimbabwean content. I was like, where can I watch? She's like, you haven't heard about Tinashe Mugabe? Anyway, go at your homework. So I go there and sometimes in their subtitles, right? Obviously, what they're talking about, Mao, and like those things are crazy. But there's poetry, Papo, where you're like, I see the translation and then I understand what they're saying, and I'm like, no, they missed the nuance. But there's a certain Unoseka, just because of how some of these people from the township, they use certain phrases, they craft it together, you know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, Tinashe is trying to polish it up a bit, this and that. But there's like a certain kind of, like, I don't know, there's something, there's a, Google
You
said,
see
I'm
the
finding
way
myself
in
laughing,
which you see.
you
I
know.
think what happens is, like, English, for instance, right? English is a very
It's a brick, it's a hammer.
I think what happens is, like, with if you see, like, English, because it's a lingua franca, it's a lingua franca, right, of this age and time and age, right? So it's very diluted because a lot of words come
Yeah.
into it, right? Whereas in the more traditional languages, they're more preserved, their sayings, their culture. There's, like, sort of nuances how to say things, and even the way you go about things, especially in African culture, right? We like to go around things. We don't like to be very direct.
Yeah.
Whereas in English
Yeah.
can be quite direct. I think German is another language that's very direct, right?
Mm.
But other languages, they like to go around a certain thing, right? Like, I won't say some of the stuff because Faith is watching, so I won't say some of the stuff that but hey, do you know the stats on Tinashe Mugabe show? Brother, stuff is disgracing, bro.
No,
74% of the time, bro. 74% of the time, the father is not the father of the kids, bro. 74% of the time, bro.
that high. Wow.
Yes, it's that high, bro. 74% of the time, bro. Yo, and
But it's
that's of
entertaining.
what's it, 2026? Yeah, so 2024, sorry. The stat runs up until 2024, right? The number
Mm.
was 74%. Very, very scary. But it's extremely
Heck,
entertaining, bro. There was another.
Ninjas.
Oh, there's one episode. There's one episode where the guy, like, the guy has a. I don't know, I'm going to
He
do
starts throwing. He starts throwing that. Ah, it's been entertaining.
that. I just did. So okay. So tonight France is facing Spain. Can anyone stop France? What do you think? What are your thoughts on, like, is it just a runaway thing? A lot of people are saying that, comparing this tournament to 2002, the Korea Japan tournament, where Brazil were actually dominant from beginning to end. They played in a similar fashion where they were, they were just get majority of possession. They had a very good trio in Ronaldinho and Ronaldo, and then also Rivaldo was there as well. Good defense, good goalkeeper, that kind of thing. I think Roberto Carlos was still playing. Um, it was a very, very good team, 2002 Brazilian World Cup team. And now you look at this France team, led by Kylian Mbappe, who I think the last game he wasn't his best, but he has been looking imperious and he's been looking excellent. He looks by and large the best player on earth, on the planet. He's like when he just turns it on, he just turns it on, right? And then if he doesn't destroy you, you've got Usman Dembele, who's there as well, who's the current Ballon d'Or, If he doesn't do anything, you got Olise. If Olise, then you got Bakola and Due swapping, doing something there. On the bench, you got Cherky. In other words, like this team is just got so much firepower. Chomeni got injured, right? He hasn't really been playing that often, and
Yeah.
Rabio got suspended. But you forget you got Zaire Emery, the current Champions League winner, right? He's on the bench. He can't even jump on, right? And then you got Manu Kone, who's come on and has shown like we don't need Chomeni,
Yeah.
right? At all. So it's like even their bench is sick. I mean, Zaire Emery can't get into this team. I mean, Zaire Emery, bruv. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? I mean, this France team is just superb. I think the only weakness is the goal. I think the goalkeeper is Mboch, right? Unfortunately, I know he's a black dude, but he's not good. I just think he's bang average. He's bang average. But that goal
Magic
against
man.
Senegal, that last goal against Senegal, he's just bang
Mhm.
average. And I think that's probably the only weakness I can see there. Like, you know,
I- So here's my 2 cents. I have 2 points of view. One, um, I think I think um, France obviously have the upper hand, but I think a big factor is that Spain's best player is playing somewhat hurt, right? Like Lamine Yamal
let me know.
is really not playing. He's not at full health, right? Like I think that's people have been saying it, like watching him, he's their best player and he's not really at full health. So is it the best against the best right now? No. I think if Lamine was at full health, I think it would be a different story. But ultimately, I think it comes down to um, how well Spain defend and can they then get something, on the other end? Because um, we know France is going to be attacking non-stop. They are stacked. You've gone through the list of people. They are stacked. We're not talking about the wing backs who can come up and do whatever. Like they are stacked, right? Offensively, in the midfield, they probably have one of the best, right? Like Olise right now is playing some like amazing that goal that he should have hit when he did the bicycle kick
Mm,
and it hit the bar. I
yeah,
mean, guys, that would have been the
yeah,
game of the year of the
yeah,
not even year of the next 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy
yeah.
is balling out. Um, Now, my other, I'm gonna take an anecdote, an experience that I had. We were Peter House. You play inter house matches rugby, right? And I was on the Malvern team, and we were playing Ellis, which is another house that was there. It's seven on seven. We had played three games or whatever, and we were stacked. We were front, right? We had Chiwanza, we had Chidao, we had Kaponda, we were stacked. We were the front, that's our bar collar, that's our like whatever, whatever, whatever. We were stacked, right? And then we played against Ellis, and Ellis had good players, right? They had a lot of good players, but none of them were like we had four. I think we had four players that were in the first team or the A team, or whatever it was at that time. First, I think it was first team. So we should have dominated, right? And we dominated all the way through. We then got to that game against Ellis, and I vividly remember we got outplayed, right? They just played it soft. They played it safe, and they beat us. I remember I was in the game because people were complaining or hurt or whatever. There was a ball that was kicked over the top. I had to run down against the winger. We dived for it. He scored it. Munyambe. And we lost that game. We were stacked. You know what I'm saying? And the parallel is that Marvin was a blue house and Ellis was a red house. So if there's any parallels in my random life and what's going on, the stacked teams can sometimes be overly stacked, be overly confident, and the team with a better game plan on the day, the team that plays with better togetherness, potentially could cause an upset. I've seen it. I've lived it firsthand in the anecdote I just shared. Um, and even though in my hearts of hearts, I'm like, I don't see that happening. You know, Pomecano can sometimes be loose at the back, right? Like he's been playing really well, but like Pomecano
He
can
has been playing
sometimes be
well. I've been surprised
right.
by his
He's
quality.
been playing
So
up. You know, he
surprised.
plays at home and he's been playing up. He's
Yeah.
been playing up. But like, you know, they got scored against. Now, in fairness, it was Lacroix playing in the back when they got scored against Norway, right? I think that was the only goal that they've conceded this tournament, maybe, or one of the only goals. But they are vulnerable. I think what's going to work in their favor is the lack of a central striker for
For Spain.
Spain. You know, I think
Yeah.
Oleazabal
Oya
is fine.
Oyathabal.
Oyazabal is fine getting the ball to his feet and making plays, right? Like that's the kind of player he is. They
He
don't
sucks. He's
have
not
like
good, bro. He's not good.
well, he's
He's a
yeah,
good
he's not
player, but as a striker, he's not. He's not a good
right.
striker. He's not a good
Yeah,
number
he's
nine.
not gonna be correct. So
Yeah, he's
I think
not.
that's what works in France's favor because they don't have. If France had their version of Haaland, it would be a whole different game. You know what I'm saying? A guy who could get the ball to him. You have powerful wingers, and then you have a Haaland type in the middle. You know, that's immense. France is more in that vein with the crazy wingers. Mbappe sometimes coming out wide, rotation. Olise is in the middle, distributing. I mean, like that front 4-3-4 is any team in the world. You put four on four, that team is winning 9 times out of 10. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's between
Yes,
Due and Bakola switching
Bakola.
out or whatever.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
Bakola is better than Due. But anyway,
I
Due
think
keeps on.
he should be starting.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think Bakola
Bakola
should
should
be
be starting.
starting. For me, I think Bakola should be starting. I
Yeah.
think that when I look at things, right, Spain in the other iterations of Spain, I would have given Spain a bigger chance, right? Why? Because they used to keep possession. They used to like just choke the life out of you, right? But
Yeah.
now this Spain is not keeping possession, right? If you look at the last game against was it Switzerland? What was it? It wasn't Switzerland.
Um,
It was against Spain beat in extra. They
Portugal?
beat
No.
Holland, and yes, Portugal.
Portugal.
No,
Yeah.
they beat Holland, then they beat Portugal, and then they beat uh whomever.
Who did
Are you
they
looking
beat?
it up?
I'm thinking. I'm thinking. I'm trying to use it.
All
Trying
right.
to use the mind.
I wanted to look it up,
Uh,
but then I'm thinking that if I click again, it might go silent
yeah,
again,
yeah.
and I
Go,
don't
go,
want it
go.
to go
Keep going.
silent.
Keep
Yeah,
going. We'll figure
yeah.
that out.
So okay, so if you look at that Belgium, man, what's wrong with me?
Belgium.
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 Yeah, getting too old, bro. Anyway, so against if you see against Belgium, right? That Belgium midfield, there was no Tillmans. Yuri Tillmans was injured.
Telemans.
He wasn't
Yeah.
there. Tillmans was injured, and Onana was injured as well, right? So those were the guys that were starting it throughout the whole tournament. And when they
Yeah.
performed so well against USA, when they choked the life out of USA, those were the two guys that were dominating the game, right? And then
Yeah.
but with De Bruyne and two guys that we don't really know that well, they were able actually to monopolize possession for large chunks of the game, right? And cause all sorts of problems to Spain. All sorts of problems defensively to Spain, right? So Spain up until that moment had been like, oh no, let me consider the goal, let me consider the goal, blah 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 blah. But if you actually watch the games, like for instance
Mhm.
against Portugal, right? They should have lost that game
Yeah.
easily, right? If Portugal just if Roberto Martinez had just some cojones, right? Let's say cojones, right? And you would have put Ronaldo on the bench, right? Or started him on the bench, or put someone else up front, right? Whomever, right? João Felix up front, whatever you wanted to do, right? That game would have been dead and buried easily. Portugal would have easily won that game because they were by far the better team, right? But
Mm.
because they kept on giving up, not scoring, not putting away Spain, not putting away Spain, not putting away Spain, eventually Moreno comes on and he goes and scores. Same thing with Belgium, right? Belgium had a couple of chances to really, put away Spain. They really did, and they were like not the better. Spain was by far the better team, right? But
Hmm.
Spain again were not finishing because they don't have a number nine, so they were not actually finishing. They're not doing very well. And then Moreno comes on, scores again, right? And then they go through. But I think what's going to happen is that France are going to score, and I think going to score a couple of goals. And I think that when Moreno comes on, eventually he's not going to be able to do anything to turn the game around. I think it'll be already over, right?
Yeah.
So, but you have to realize that France, I don't think have had their backs against the wall with the team having majority of possession, attacking them, attacking them, attacking them. I don't think they've had that. So if Spain can possess the ball, like we know that they actually traditionally can, with that midfield of Pedri, Fabian Ruiz, Rodri, Dani Olmo, whoever you want to put in there, right? If they can do that, right, then I think they can cause France some problems if they hold on to possession. But I just don't think they'll be able to have enough possession to choke France. I think France will have, I think it'll be the possession will be 50-50, maybe slightly in favor of Spain, maybe like 51% Spain or whatever it is. But I think that France will have enough possession and they would destroy Spain. And then also you have to remember, France are deadly on the counter attack.
Yeah.
Deadly on the counter attack. And I'm sorry, man, when I look at that back four of Laporte and is it Laporte and the Barcelona guy, they just don't look. I mean,
Yeah.
Di Catalan, Di Catalan,
Yeah. Yeah.
he made those guys, he made them
Yeah.
look juvenile at times. He was able to
Yeah.
bully them, he was able to do whatever he wanted there. And so when they're facing Mbappe and Dembele, Bakola, Due, Olise, I think he'll be able to do what he wants in there. And I think Rodri, you can run past Rodri. You can run
Yeah.
past Rodri. You can, right? So I think Spain, to be honest, they should have lost to Portugal. They could have lost to Belgium, although they were better
Mm.
than Belgium, but they could have lost to Belgium. I think that Spain's defense has been highly exaggerated because they just really haven't faced anyone. And when they actually did face some opposition, they crumbled. And so for
Yeah.
me, I think this, I don't see an upset here. I mean, it's possible because Spain is a good team. Lamine Yamal, like you said, he's injured. He's 100% injured. But even if he was fit, right? I think that France can make a plan for Lamine Yamal, but I don't think Spain can make a plan for Dembele,
Yeah.
Due,
That's fair.
Bakola, Olise, Mbappe. I don't think they can make a plan for all those guys. I think France
Yeah.
can make a plan for Olise. They can be fine. Okay, we can make a plan
Lamine Yamal.
for Lamine Yamal. And of course, I think also, you Pedro Porro on that side as well can come in there as well. Their fullbacks, Cucurella, Pedro Porro, whoever is playing on that side, also adds an advantage for. But I think we'll see. And also, remember, Didier Deschamps is a defensive coach.
Mm.
That's how he thinks, right? So I think that if the game gets away from France, I think that Didier Deschamps will be able to put on a couple of subs to change things.
Yeah.
But
I think.
yeah, I don't see an upset. I just don't see one.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think the amount of pressure that I think Spain's is gonna be forced back. The Cucureas and the Poros are literally gonna have to stay back to help out their center backs. So there's gonna be less forward movement, less support going forward. So I think ultimately it's gonna be a game. If France plays it smart and they keep it with the Olysses and the Dombeles and and they press it up. You know what I mean? You're pegging Spain back, and I think ultimately whatever offensive Spain is not a fast break team. They don't have that fast break option,
Yeah.
so that limits their attacks. I think you're right. I think they can make a plan to be like, right, who's on on France's left? What's his name? Plays for Aston Villa. Whoever the left back is.
Yeah, the left back. He might not start.
The
He
white
might not
guy.
start. Because I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, the white guy. Because I mean, they might play Teo Hernandez there. You might play Malagusto
Oh yeah.
there. So you got Jules Kunde. I think Kunde is going to start on the right? But then you got
Yeah, Kunde's on the right.
Malagusto. We can play on the left as well. You've got Teo
Yeah.
Hernandez. You can play on that side, and then you've also got him. I think I don't know who will play on the left there because I think what he's going to have to do is there'll have to be some discipline on the left there. But I think if he plays Bakola and and Dembele plays on that side, right? So I don't know who will play, but I think that
I think Due starts on the left. Due starts on the left first half,
yeah,
and then he
yeah.
comes
Lucas,
in. Oh yeah, Digne. Thank you.
yeah,
But I think I could see Digne because Digne is pretty defensive. He's somewhat attacking, but he's not as attacking as Kunde. So they
but
could
there's that
keep
pace.
Kunde. Yeah, so then keep Kunde going. That's true. the thing is, you don't want someone too attacking on that left back. You want someone who's
Yeah.
willing to sit back and can keep up with. But obviously, they're going to have support. They're going to give him help. I think Due starts on the left, Dembele on the right, and I think Due is probably going to get 65 to 70 minutes because I think Bakola coming in has shown that like he comes with that. He has another gear that he
Another
brings
gear. Yeah. Yeah.
that like I'm saying it's like Due will be playing with Mbappe, it'll be going okay, whatever, and then Barcola comes in, and all of a sudden Barcola is like just flying down that wing, which invigorates Mbappe, and like so. I think it seems like Deschamps is using Barcola as like a trump card to be like, we can play up to the second drinks break. After that second drinks breaks, we come with Barcola, and if we're not winning, we're locking it down. We're putting pressure on the wing. We're gonna come all the way. But I think like you're right, they're so stacked in the front. Now, again, to my point, you can be stacked like crazy. I don't know the manager's name for Spain, but he's a smart cookie,
De La
right?
Fuente. De La Fuente.
De La, De La Fuente he's been around for a while. He knows his stuff.
Won the
So I
Euros.
could
Look
see
at it.
them. Yeah, I could see them coming up, not playing like how they played against Portugal or Belgium, coming up with a different strategy.
If they
Because I think that's
play
what
the
it
way
comes
they
down
played,
to.
yeah. If they
That's
play
what it
the way
comes
they
down
played
to strategy,
against Portugal, they're gonna get destroyed.
right?
Because I was
But
shocked. The Portuguese game shocked me. I would like to. That game shocked me. How much possession Portugal had, how much they dominated. I thought Spain was going to be, I thought Portugal. I thought Portugal was going to lose. That's what I thought. Honestly, I knew
I
Portugal was
I
going to lose
was
because I knew they were going to play Ronaldo, right? But I thought,
yeah
but as the game started going, I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's a chance here. Remember, we were actually talking. Remember, and I said, look,
yeah
if they sub Ronaldo in the 60th minute or the 55th minute, then they could actually win this game. They could win it. It was
yeah.
there for the taking, right? But Moreno comes on and
I
does
mean,
his thing.
here's the thing for Portugal. The question, and you probably know his age more, is that midfield three going to stay for the next World Cup? Because if that midfield three stays for the next World Cup, Portugal becomes the team to beat in Europe. That
Bruno,
midfield in general
Bruno
was one of the
Fernandez
best.
is Bruno Fernandes is what? He's
Bruno,
29, right? So
yeah.
in 4 years' time he'll be what 33. So
Like I don't
possibly,
know about Bruno,
possibly.
but I know the other
But
two,
Bernardo
the
Silva will be
PSG guys.
gone. But the PSG
The
guys will be there.
PSG boys. The
They'll
PSG
be the
boys
two
are the
guys will be there.
two.
They'll be there.
So
Yeah.
if you can find another attacking midfielder, you then either they need to find a new striker, right? They need to
Well,
get
Ramos is what 27.
Ramos is okay though. He's not.
He's better than
They need
Ronaldo.
100%. No, he's
No,
their guy
like
now.
Spain won the Euros with Morata, right? With Morata at the number 9.
Yeah,
Now, is
right.
Morata any better than that whatever Ramos guy? No, they're the same. He's probably slightly better, right? But they're in the same
Yeah,
WhatsApp group, they're the same quality of striker, right? But you just need a focal point. You need someone who, because you know how many times, the amount of times I saw the ball flash across the box and Ronaldo was
yeah,
nowhere to be found, just for a
right.
simple tap in. And you're like, where is Ronaldo? That Ramos guy would have tapped that ball in, right? Because he would have been there
Yeah,
as a number 9, right? And so for me, like, you just need a guy that's there. Like if you look at
but
Germany
but
when they did so well in the World Cups, right? They had people like Miroslav Klose. He was
yeah,
brilliant. They had the guy who was Gomez. Something Gomez. Is it Gomez? And all you need is a proper striker who's a bit mobile, who keeps the defense honest. Who, if there's a tap in, he's there for the tap in. If there's a free header, he's there
yeah.
for the header. Yes, he arrives on time. The amount of chances Portugal created, they should have won that game. And so for
But
me, like, you don't
so
need, and look, Portugal are always producing like brilliant young guys. If you look at, I think their back four, for instance, is going to be there for the
yeah,
next World Cup. That midfield is going to be there for the next World Cup. Even Bruno
Leao on the
Fernandes will
wing.
probably be 33. He's a fit player. He doesn't really
Yeah,
rely on his physical prowess. He's not like a physical guy, right? Probably
yeah. He's
Bernardo
like
Silva
De
will be
Bruyne. He's
gone.
like De Bruyne. He's gonna be De
Yeah,
Bruyne.
yeah, yeah. So he'll be
Yeah.
there or coming off the bench or he'll be there. And the manager, the new coach said, I will not be afraid to bench these old guys. That's what he said.
So
That was his
here's
first statement.
yeah. But
New
here's
coach.
the thing. Everybody knew that was going on. What I will say is that I think if we look at the goal tallies, right, there are three guys that are dominating the goals, right, and there
Four.
are three guys, Dembele too, but there are three main guys that three of them who are still playing. um, and they're finishers, and that's what modern football has. Like I'm thinking back to your team, Manchester United, right, with the Van Nistelrooys, with the younger Ronaldos, with like that's how football used to be, right? You get a finisher in the front there. I'm my team, Leeds United, right? I think if you look at the games we created so many chances. Um, but
Yeah, Calvert
until we
Lewin,
got
Calvert
Calvin
Lewin,
Lewin,
Calvert
Calvin
Lewin.
Lewin was a huge upgrade, but and he's a real finisher. He just, we didn't
Yeah,
have the wings. We didn't have the wing play. We didn't have enough people to support him in the attacking
you
thing.
always say wing, you
That's,
always blame wing play for it. I don't know, man. Calvert
no,
Lewin for
because that,
me, Calvert Lewin for me. I think that um Calvert Lewin is like a streaky player, right? There's some games when he's unplayable, and I think Calvert for the skill set that he has, he should be way more dominant in the air. Because I mean, like when that guy jumps,
yeah,
who's better in the air? When Calvert Lewin is on fire, who's better than him in the air in world
no,
football?
he destroys.
Just
Yeah,
on Earth, on this planet, right?
yeah. The
Probably got
old
the highest.
Ronaldo, the old
Yeah,
Ronaldo
he's
is probably the best Calvert Lewin.
ridiculous in the air.
Yeah,
I mean, when he played against Manchester United, the amount of times he leapt over all of our defenders, bro.
yeah,
Right? So Calvert Lewin should be way more dominant in the air, right, than he
right.
actually is, right? I think he does well in terms of his actual pace. I don't think he's as quick as but he does well in the real terms of running around the pace and stuff.
Yeah,
And I think that I think Tefari is gone offline, guys. He's gone offline. But anyway, as I was saying, I think Calvert Lewin is quite streaky there. Let's see if we can get him back online. So, for France, I don't think there's gonna be any issue with France in terms of like what I don't think it's gonna be an upset. I think France are gonna win. I think France are going to win there. But in terms of when we talk about Leeds, right? I'm always arguing with Paris like all the time, like constantly arguing with him over that issue of are you
you're back.
back?
Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought you were paused, but I kept talking. But yes,
No, no, no.
you were like this.
Yeah, I was shocked, but I just disappeared.
No,
Maybe it's me. You know, you got disappeared today, bro.
what I
Um,
will say, is, and I was saying just now, if you don't have alternative attacking threats in the final third, defenders, center backs know they can just stay on the middle guy, and you know what I mean, tag team him, and like he's safe. Now we have Harry Wilson on the right, right, or I think he's a right-sided player, I think, or
yes, all right, right
left-footed,
on the right.
but he stays on the right. So now we have a right-sided attacker. We're probably going to try and bolster the left side, or we can stay with Okafor, who's okay, or or we'll figure it out on the left side. But it's
Or
like now
Aronson.
yeah, yeah. I think we're trying to get another attacking midfielder, but it comes down to now that once you add another threat in the thing, the center backs have to now start like paying attention to these wingers, so they're drawing them out, which gives room to a Calvert Lewin to come in there and do things. So I think it's less about. I think yes, him in the air, all these kinds of things, but ultimately it's like, and the teams that do that really well are the teams that like, like Argentina is really good at like runs. They like, I watch their games. I don't like them as a team, but they are always making runs, drawing players away, creating space. They're really good at this, like opening up a defense through motion, through movement, through off the ball movement. And I think once you have another attacking threat in the final third, it allows you to move the defenders, create space, which gives you opportunities for maybe, if not the striker, an attacking midfielder to come in there, an eight to come in there and finish off the plays or whatever. So I think that's what you get when you have, which is why France is stacked, because they have so much in the attacking third. Ape goes this way, you have to track him. Barcola goes this way, you have to track them. You have to pay attention to those, which opens up gaps for the Elises, which opens up gaps for these other guys to come in. So I think, if there's anything that I've watched more in this World Cup, it's how much off the ball movement plays a role. And to Portugal's point, if Ronaldo is no longer a threat, you stop paying attention to his movement because it's like the guy's
They
not
were
going to
playing
go
with
anywhere.
10 men.
Right.
Portugal were playing with 10 men. That's what they were doing. They were playing with 10 men, right? And it was just unfortunate. I mean, like this World Cup, right? I've seen some mind-boggling things. But look, I think there's conversation to be had about Roberto Martinez. He's literally murdered And maybe I can't say that word on YouTube, but he's literally analyzed the two golden generations, right? Remember the Belgian generation with Eden Hazard, with Kevin De Bruyne in his prime, with Lukaku in his prime, right? With Munier and Jordan Lukaku and Tillmans, coming up with
Young
Tillmans and
Tillmans,
things
yeah.
like that. And the Trossard is also was a lighty there, and other players. They had was full of stars, right? And their best showing, I think, was a semi-final, I think, a quarter-final,
Mm,
semi-final, where they
semis.
lost handily, right? So that golden generation didn't do squat, and that was through Roberto Martinez was the coach. And then he failed upwards and landed the Portuguese golden generation, another Portuguese golden generation. And he's underlined that one, he's murdered that one as well, right? He destroyed that one. Because dude, the Ronaldo thing was just go to Ronaldo and say, Cristiano, bro, you need to sit on the bench. I'm sorry, I know that you're competing with Messi. I know it's America, blah, blah, blah. But the situation is this. And I would go to him before the tournament. And I said to Ronaldo down and say, look, Ronaldo, the heart and soul of this team, you're loved in Portugal. Everybody loves you, right? But we have a chance to win the World Cup here. Look at this midfield. Look at this team. Mukaka Mdara. Milken Hani Mdara. Right? Look at this team, bruv. Right? Look at this team, right? And I'll be like, look at this team on paper. It's dope, Mdara. Right? You got Bernardo Silva chilling on the bench, João Felix on the bench. Then that's how deep this team is, right? Some players can't even jump
Mm.
into this team, right? And you're like, look at this midfield, look at the defense, look at the attack. This team could be dope, but you're 40 something in that, right? That's just the, you're not as bright as you used to be, right? But you're the captain. If you come on in the 20 minutes and rally this team, you can be the hero that makes a difference, right? You can, because the team would be tired, they'll have less legs, right? You will be fresh, right? We can put in more crosses. You can then your heading ability then comes into it, right? Penalties, you can take them, all this stuff, right? That's the story that I would have sold them. And I would have done that before the World Cup, right? Way before the World Cup. And then gotten him to agree. If he didn't agree, then I would have left him at cabin. I would go to the person and
Here's
say,
the
guys, we want to win the World Cup, right? Joe Nyachu. Joe Nyachu open up. Second, he's not coming
Simba.
because he doesn't want to chill on the bench. Yeah?
Simba. Here's the thing. You are a Southern African, an African in general, right? And one thing that Africans, Southern Africans, I can say,
Wait, Fadi.
have
Fadi, can I stop you there? Do
yeah,
you want to jump in and jump out again?
yeah, sure. Let me jump.
Because I think it's like frozen.
Sharp, sharp.
Sorry, guys, for the technical difficulties going on here. Yeah, but yeah, it needs to. Yep, I'm not sure what's going on, but anyway, let Faisal jump in and jump back out again, and then hopefully we can get it. Okay, Lord, please let it work now.
Hi, hi.
Hello,
All good, all good.
much better.
All right. So,
Whoa.
um,
You said I'm Southern
better-ish. Let's say
African.
better-ish. So you're Southern African, and one thing that Southern Africans have in abundance is a sense of pragmatism, to be pragmatic, right? To understand that like the greater good, right? You're using your common sense, right? Pragmatism is a huge thing. Now you're asking a country that has a romantic language in Portuguese, these passionate people, to forego their passion and their joie de vivre and and lean on pragmatism. It doesn't work like that, especially when someone knows it's their last World Cup, and you're saying, "Hey, let's be pragmatic about this.
Look,
Let's
Peter
think."
Love. Look, I love
It
Peter
goes
Love with
hand
Fadi. I
in
love
hand.
Peter Love, right? He can't be
It
playing
goes
now,
hand
Bora,
in hand.
bruh.
Simba, you're being pragmatic. You're looking at it from your lens. Your lenses are pragmatic set of glasses. What I'm saying is other people have different shades, and their shades is romanticism. And I'm telling you now, I've had to learn that my pragmatic nature is part of where I grew up. It's part of the people I've been around, right? Consideration, thinking of the greater good. It's been drilled into me from the Peter House days, right? Be pragmatic. If you're not going to play, give up your spot for someone who's better than you. It's a no-brainer. You know, before the coach calls you out, be like, Coach, I'm being killed here on the wing, Shaman. Get a goal, another goalkeeper, sub. right? You're being pragmatic. Pragmatism and football sometimes are at odds because the passion and the love and these things and the
That's what
romanticism
the
of
coach
it.
is there for, right?
I
Ronaldo,
know.
right? For him to achieve what he's achieved, he doesn't
Mm,
have them. He can't have the mentality that look, I'm now on board. He's not gonna have that mentality, right? He's
correct.
gonna want to play, right? That's why, like, look, every coach says if I sub a player and that player is happy to come off, I worry because it means that this guy's got no ambition, right?
Right.
If you watch all the good players, when they get subbed off, they are pissed. Whether they're having a stinker or whether they're playing very well, they don't want to come off, bruv. Right? Try subbing off Mbappe when he, if he's not injured and stuff like that. Try subbing off. You look at you like, what the hell are you doing? How are you sub? Why are you subbing me off? Right? Kane, everything, all the kind of stuff. Like they don't want to be subbed off. The good players don't want to be subbed off, right? Because they're ambitious, right? They are
Mm,
very, very ambitious. And so the coach has to be the one that has to be pragmatic, right? He has to be pragmatic. He has to be pragmatic, right? And he has to be the one that is thinking and is more than just thinking through just passion, right? Because if we just base our game on the academic sources, it's like England the other day. They almost announced that match to Norway. Why? They
mm.
wouldn't. They wouldn't sub off Harry Kane, bro. They wouldn't sub off Harry Kane, bro. Harry Kane should have come off that. Like Harry Kane was bust. You could see this guy was sick. He was tired, right? You've got what's his name? You've got Oli Watkins on the bench. You've got Ivan Tony on the bench, right? Good players. Ivan Tony scored like a billion goals in Saudi Arabia, right? That's why he made the squad, right? And then you got this Harry Kane who's literally on his last legs. The only contribution Harry Kane made to that game was giving away the ball that led to the goal that Norway scored, right? That's what he did, right? And yet they wouldn't sub him off. They wouldn't sub him off, right? And for me, that just shows you like you've got a problem as a team. You're not going to win the World Cup. You're not going to win the Cup if you do that. I understand that France won't sub off Mbappe as well as Mbappe does, but he gets subbed off. Mbappe does get subbed off, but when they're winning, right? But I honestly, I think that as a coach, you just have to transcend some of these things, right? You have to transcend some of these things. You have to say, look, Harry Kane does not look good. He must come off the pitch. I know in England it's sacrilegious. I know in England they would march on the streets like, how dare you sub off Harry Kane, right? But as the coach, hence why they hire these foreign coaches. Like Roberto Martinez is not Portuguese, he's Spanish. Thomas Tuchel is German, he's not Portuguese. So these guys should be able to make these decisions dispassionately and with a calculation in the manner. Look, okay, we need to get these. So
But
for
here's the
me,
thing. Here's,
Portugal were playing with 10 men effectively in the World Cup. That's what they were doing.
so, so that's the thing. For me, it's like, which team is going to be the most pragmatic going into the final 3 games, or 4 games, I guess, with a run out. Is Argentina going to be pragmatic? No, I don't see
Nope.
Argentina being pragmatic. Is England going to be pragmatic?
Nope.
No, I don't think England being pragmatic.
Nope.
Is France going to be pragmatic?
Probably.
No, they could, but they don't need to as much as other teams do, right? Because unless something crazy happens. So Spain is the one team, and we'll see today what
Spain will be
pragmatism
there.
looks like, right? Like, let's see
Spain will be
what a
pragmatic. Yeah.
pragmatic move is, and does it actually get results over? This is our star; he needs to play the whole game. Upon this is there's only so much I can do as the manager.
I think Spain, the advantage of Spain is that there's no real superstar. The superstar who is Lamine Yamal is injured. And I think the
Yeah,
coach is happy to sub off Lamine Yamal. He's not like married to that situation. I think also because, to be quite frank with you, Lamine Yamal is black, and so he can be subbed off. If he was, if he was white, then he'd stay on that pitch until and he'd go in there with like a limp leg, he'll be gone there. Imagine Saka. Imagine if Saka was white. Do you think that he'd be on the bench as much as he is for England? I
no,
don't think
he'll be
so. I'm
starting
just
every
saying.
game.
Hashtag just saying. Hashtag just saying.
What does Madueke have on Tuchel?
No, look. I think Saka is injured. Saka is injured. Saka is injured. He's not fit.
Yeah,
Saka's not fit. If Saka was fit, he'd be starting. But Saka's not fit. I think we're just joshing there,
no,
but
I
Saka
know,
is
I
just he's
know.
not. The guy is not fit. The guy's not fit. Unfortunately for England, right? He's playing their goalkeeper as well. I don't know. Understand why they're playing Unai Simon. Unai Simon just does not look good, bro. He looks okayish, but I think that they should be playing the Arsenal
But
goalkeeper. But anyway,
I think this is to my points, is that even we're saying that like Spain has to be more pragmatic. They aren't, right? Ryan has shown his quality over the past season, right?
Yeah.
And yet, instead of saying, okay, and that's this whole thing of like, he's our number one guy, like you're making a choice. This is our starter. This is our whatever. If you come into an establishing and say, okay, uh, Simone is our starter, right? Unai Simone is our starter, right? And he's going to get the first spot, regardless of his overall form. Again, you're giving into what's the opposite of pragmatism? I don't know what the opposite is, the opposite term, but yeah, you're giving into that kind of romanticized view of
Hyper
like,
opt. Yeah,
yeah,
romanticizing
you know,
things. Yeah.
romanticize. This is the guy. So that you're right. To your point, it's like, why is David Raya not starting in goal for him? Now, I don't watch enough of Simone, so I don't know if he's good or how good he is. He has to be
Exactly,
good enough
exactly.
to start.
But that's just Farid. Why has no one bought Simon? Simon won the Euros 4 years ago, right? Why isn't he playing for Barcelona or playing for Real Madrid or playing for Bayern Munich or playing for Arsenal or playing for
Maybe he's
Tottenham,
like
playing for
Pickford. Look at Pickford. Let's say the same thing for Pickford. Pickford decides to say,
exactly,
Everton.
exactly. But Pickford then, but the thing about Pickford, right, is that they up until now, look, the best English goalkeeper is Trafford. Unfortunately, he's a sub for he's just on the bench, but he is the best English goal. Trafford is the best English goalkeeper, but unfortunately, he's on the bench for Man City, right? Pickford, the fact that nobody's bought Pickford is an indictment on Pickford. He's not that good. He's not. He's okay for England, but he's not that good, right? Even look at the goal that he conceded against Norway. Come on, bro. You saw that goal, right? You saw that goal, bro. You saw that goal,
Yeah,
bro.
but I mean,
Yeah, come
he's
on, man.
he's he is. I think there's less of a debate in the English camp. That's Pickford's job, right? Trafford is still his, and this is what comes into the fray. People look at this again, pragmatism, and they're like, okay, Trafford has at least another two World Cups. Pickford is probably going to be done after this one. So let's give the kid, let it. Your favorite, your complaints about why are they putting in James in the midfield and not Kobe Minu? You know, but it's like again, they have World Cups, they have World Cups to come. So again, they're giving into
Ah,
the,
no,
and that one,
no,
it's
no.
like,
No, that one for me, I was reading an article. I was just reading an article on that just recently, and apparently because I think what happened, there was an angle that I want someone saying, look, Kobe Manu at the end of the season, right? Especially Manchester United at the end of the season was doing very very well, right? They're doing very very well. So he didn't want to take Maguire, and he didn't take Luke Shaw, right? So which Man United players was he going to take? Right? And for him, like, and I think he didn't want the headache of saying, I have chosen no Manchester United players, right? Because
mm,
imagine Manchester United is the biggest club in England, the most supporters, the most successful, blah 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 blah, blah, right? And so, like, in terms of just fans alone, imagine the uproar if he didn't take a single Manchester United player, especially Man United finishing so well at the end of the season. So
mm,
many players were like, he just bit the bullet. Like, I take Maguire. I don't really want Maguire. I want Dan Burn, right? Because Maguire and Dan Burn are sort of playing for the same position. And then when
yeah,
you see how Jed Spence is performing, Nico O'Reilly was obviously going to he's booked, he's already wrote his ticket, right? And then you
yeah,
got how Jed Spence was playing, right? Like, look at Jed Spence now, he
yeah,
looked superb against Norway, right? So obviously you want to take Jed Spence, so you didn't want to take Luke Shaw, right? It's like, I don't really fancy Luke Shaw, I don't really fancy Maguire. Mason Mount is always injured, right? So he's not going, right?
yeah,
Which other Man United players are you going to take? Right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I
yeah,
think that he was like, okay, I have to take Kobe Menu,
yeah, yeah,
right? And so that's what I think happened. I think so he was forced to take Kobe Menu, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So I think he was forced to
Right.
take Kobe Menu, and
Yeah.
and that's why. So I don't think he likes him because I mean there's no excuse why that guy is not even a single moment, not
Well,
one not
I mean,
1 minute.
the main, the one defense I'll give him is that um, Tuchel has gone with this with experience in this World Cup squad. Apart from Kobe Manu,
Anderson. What
Anderson is
experience
a
has Anderson
star right
got?
now. Anderson is the one star right now. He's
Now
on the
Kobe
rise.
Manu plays for
Keep
Manchester
taking
United.
Anderson.
He's way more expensive. Kobe Manu played in the last final that England had, the
Simba,
European
Simba,
finals.
Kobe
Like,
Manu
like
still feels like a lighty. I'm just gonna say it. Kobe
no,
Manu
no,
still
no,
feels
no,
like a
no,
lighty.
no, no, no,
He
no.
does.
No,
He
I'm
still
saying for
feels like a
England,
lighty.
Kobe Manu was before, right? Before Ruben Amorim came to Manchester United, Kobe Manu was the starting midfielder for England. He was the starting guy. He played in the last tournament that they had, right? When they were in the final for the European final, right? Kobe Manu was the guy who started in that. He was playing in the
Yeah.
midfield.
So
He's
was
way
Calvin.
more experienced than Anderson.
So was Calvin Phillips. And where is he now?
No,
Playing
he
for
wasn't. He wasn't.
He
No,
was
he
starting. He
wasn't.
was in the penalty thing. He was there with those guys. He was there with those guys,
No,
hugging the youngins, whatever. He was a starter against Southgate.
nah.
He was a starter. So all I'm saying is that like
What I'm saying
he's
is that,
gone with
the last
James.
iteration of the English club, right? Oh no, you said experience. That's what you said. Experience.
Yeah,
What I'm saying that is that experience it can't be an excuse if you're playing Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson is around the same age as Kobe Menu.
yeah, but
He's got
Simba,
less
it's
in the Premiership. He's got less experience in the Premiership. He's got less experience in for England. He just
let's talk
doesn't
run
like
of
Kobe
form.
Menu.
You talked about how you get flack if you not take a Manchester United player. Manchester United ended on a good uptick, right? I don't know what the hell
Better
y'all are
than
doing right now in the midst. I don't know what you guys are doing right now. We'll get into that. God knows what's happening. But forever Carrick. I think you're forever Carrick. But Anderson has had a great season in the Prem. Kobe Menu, now that's probably Amarin's fault. Wasn't starting, was on the bench, wasn't
Yeah, but the last
trusted.
6 months he's been the star for Man United.
He's
Look,
been solid. But
arguing. I'm not arguing.
Bruno
What
Fernandes is
I'm
the only
arguing is this.
star in the
I'm
thing.
arguing this, but I
Casemiro
think you're
had a
missing it.
Casemiro had a great end of the season.
Look, I think you're missing the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to
Uh,
make is that he was forced to take Kobe Manu. He does not like Kobe Manu. He doesn't like him. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's about form or anything like that. He doesn't fancy the guy, and he didn't pick him, right? Because look, Declan Rice was literally sick, like literally injured and sick, right? You could see that, right? Anderson was not having a great game even. He was having a very meh game, right? And then
yeah.
you put in James in midfield, which was a disaster, right? What does he do? He takes off James, he puts in Morgan Rogers, right? Like he's playing everyone except for Kobe Menu, right? In the position that he's supposed to be playing, right?
I mean,
So for me, makes no sense.
I
So
mean,
makes
but
no sense. Like,
where does because Kobe Manu play is more of an 8, right, than a 6.
he plays all three positions. He can play all three positions.
But where does he thrive as an 8?
He thrives as an 8, but he can play in all three positions. He's better. He's a better number 6 than James, than Reece James by far,
But
right?
if you're
Because that's
looking for a
actually his.
defensive, if you're looking at defensive minded
Yes, he's a
midfielder,
better he's a better number 6 than Reece James. He's a better number 6 than Reece James. Because when you saw Reece James coming on, he was a disaster when he came on, right? Kobe Menu is better than him in that position. He's better than Morgan Rogers at number 10 because he also plays that position as well. That's literally what he does for a living, right?
no, Simba,
You're taking wingers and you're putting them in the number 10. You're taking right backs and you're putting them in the number 6 position. You're literally taking sick people and you're putting them in there.
but,
Look, what I'm trying
Simba,
to say to you,
that's,
no, what I'm trying to say to you is that it's a coach has every right to prefer his players, right?
yeah.
I'm not arguing whether you should be starting or not. What I'm saying to you is the reason why he's not playing him is because the reason why he took him to the World Cup in the first place, right? I think it's because he was forced to take him. I don't
I
think he
think
likes Kobe Manu. I don't think he likes him.
I think
I think
that's
he believes that because otherwise, here's the thing,
potentially
buddy.
hearsay, Simba. It's potentially
If
hearsay.
Reece James is a better midfielder than Kobe Manu, then why bring Kobe Manu to the World Cup?
Yeah, but Simba, here's the thing. Henderson, before he fell off the boards and broke his wrist, he didn't start. He wasn't playing either. So you have two
He
midfielders in
played.
there.
He played. Jordan
At the
Henderson
end of
came
a
on as a
game,
sub. He came on as a sub.
okay, fine.
Kobe Manu didn't even come
Explain.
on as a sub, bro. Kobe Manu hasn't even come on as a sub. Dude, come
He's not
on.
the
Like what
only
I'm saying is
player.
like,
He's not the only player that's done that.
yes, the other players are the ones who play either the goalkeeper or the guys who play in Harry Kane. In Harry Kane's position, where Harry Kane, you can't ever bench Harry Kane, isn't? So I'm saying to you, you can't bench Harry Kane. So those two strikers are effed, right? So
Yeah.
Watkins and Everton, they're never going to see a minute of this World Cup. Unless England is
Right.
losing like 7-0 or something, right? They're not
Yeah.
going to see even a minute of the World Cup because you can never sub Harry Kane, right? So I can understand that situation. And then, of course, you can't sub Jordan Pickford. So Trafford and who's the other goalkeeper? I don't know who the goalkeeper is. He's not going to see a minute.
Yeah.
Other than that, everyone else is played except for Kobe Manu.
Kobe.
Look, it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't mind. Look,
Keep playing,
I don't
Sonny.
mind.
Keep playing, Sonny.
I don't mind. Kobe Manu can chill, bro. I don't mind.
My question is, does
Because,
Kobe Manu stay at Manchester United?
of course, he stays. He literally just signed a new contract.
Okay. Because he was close to leaving last season.
He literally just signed a new contract. He's staying. He's there for a long time. Look, the thing about that midfield rebuild, I've been thinking about it actually. And so let's start with
Did you say rebirth?
rebuild.
Oh, I think birth. There's no birthing there, Shoma. There's
The old man, the old man. So if I think if you look at Yuri Tillmans, right? Yuri Tillmans, okay. Let's start with
Yeah.
that. I think that in the context of if he is there, right, as a supplementary piece, if he's
Mm.
there just to boost up the numbers, then I think it's brilliant for 35 million pounds. Mwah, not a problem, right? Because remember, he's 29 years old. He's not like an old guy. He's still 29, right? Well experienced, right? And if you look at Kobe Menu and Andres Santos, right, there's very little experience in that squad. Also, we're going to be in Champions League, so I think it adds depth, right, to the squad. And I think it also is if he's coming on as a bench player or coming on as someone who's going to be playing there, here and there, that's fine with me, right? I love that piece. But if he is like, if we're saying fine, we're now done, that's our centerpiece signing, then Man United is in a lot of trouble because he's not good enough, right? He's just not good enough. I don't think he ever was good enough to be like that's the anchor, right? But what does he bring to the team? He's like I was trying to compare him to someone. I think he's like Michael Carrick in the way that he thinks. He's a very intelligent player. I think where he lacks from Michael Carrick was way more mobile. He was taller, he was more mobile, he was more physical, right? So in that sense, it's sort of like a hybrid between Andrea Pirlo and Michael Carrick. And so if he's going to be successful, you're going to need legs around him. So in other words, the next defender that Man United are going to have to buy, the next sort of player, is going to have to buy a midfielder with legs, strength, and who's able to carry the ball. And I think then Yuri Tillmans can be an asset in your team, right? Because if you look at the way he played at Aston Villa, they never played him Ariega, right? They always had either McGinn, who's got legs for days,
Hmm.
or that Onana, who's physical, legs for days, or that Kamara, that African midfielder, Kamara,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
young, vibrant, lots of legs. And then he was the guy who was marshalling the game, passing the ball, dictating play, and then of course he's got is a dope shin DD, right? He's got a dope shot, right? So he can come in there, do some spectacular shots and whatever. But his role was to organize, sort of like organize defensively. Guys, you end up, you go there, you go there. Okay, this I'm gonna pass, dictate the game, right? It's sort of like a passing midfield general,
Yeah.
the way that Pirlo used to be for like AC Milan and for Juventus. And when he was at Juventus, he had Vidal and he had Pogba doing the running away running for him. When he was at AC Milan, he had Ambrosini and other midfielders. I've forgotten the names at AC Milan. And so that's how you play Tillman. So, for instance, if you're playing I don't know, Burnley, just for lack of a name, Burnley, for instance, where you're not going to be under a lot of pressure, then Tillmans is perfect for you, right? You play him there, then you have your other guys offensive running. But if you're playing Man City, Tillmans is on the bench, bro. He's on the bench, right, for Manchester United, and that's how what, and that's how I see things developing there. So for if that's the signing, then that's perfect. If he's the marquee signing, like okay, fine, we'll sign Tillmans, we're done. Then I know we're screwed. Then we're screwed. So just to use some comments here. If France win the World Cup, is the Belle Ballon d'Or win again? Nope. It's obviously Mbappe, bro.
Yeah.
Mbappe.
Mbappe. This is Mbappe's.
But Mbappe is the best player on earth right now. I think. Is there an argument? I mean, people are saying Kane because if England wins the World Cup, Kane would have obviously scored something like 70 goals this season, something along those lines. Um, I
I
don't know
think.
though.
I think. I think best in the world versus best performer. I think Messi has shown that he is the best performer in a tournament. If you say I need to take charge of this thing, you give the ball to Messi. He's 39 years old and he's like, this is mine. Like I'm doing it. I think he dominates in terms of world football right now. Mbappe
You
is
take Messi over Mbappe in this tournament.
yeah. In terms of like just pure like I need to take this game by the horns and destroy. Um, I
So
think
let's say you were starting. You need to win the World Cup, this 2026 World Cup, right?
yeah,
And you could have Messi or Mbappe or Kane in your team. You'd pick who would be
Kane
like
would be
your
on the bench.
ace would be Messi.
Kane would be on the bench. It would be Messi and Mbappe, and I would have them playing off each other if they could play, if they could do that. You know what I'm saying? But like you'd have Mbappe on the wing, right, coming in there. Maybe he passes the ball to Messi or whatever.
The
But
question I'm
like,
trying to ask you is like, if you had to take one of the two in the tournament, who would you take? Would you take Messi or would you take Mbappe? I know you said that Mbappe is a better player, not
yeah,
about for this specific tournament in terms of you're looking at all their performances thus far.
I'd probably take, I'd probably take Messi only because
Mm.
Messi has actually dealt with adversity in this tournament. Mbappe has not. Mbappe really
What?
hasn't really had to be like take the game on his shoulders. Right? To me, right now, Messi is playing like Kobe later in his career, where it's like, I just need to put this entire thing on my shoulders. Right, let's go. I got you. I got you. I'm gonna general this game. I'm gonna score, but I'm also gonna come in there. I'm gonna deliver the ball, whatever. Mbappe is playing like a young Kobe who's like, man, I'm playing the game of my life. I'm out here, I'm doing whatever. Like, it's great. Like, they haven't been down in the game ever. So Mbappe hasn't had to be like,
Yeah, they have.
he, when were they
No,
down?
not down, but not down.
That's what I'm
Like
saying. They were never in
they,
a
were
place.
losing,
No, they were never
but
in a
they've been
place where
playing.
it's like, I need to
There
take
were
charge.
times. Yeah, okay, cool. No, I get what you're saying. I'll take Mbappe. I'll take Mbappe.
Yeah.
Why are all of United players except for Martinez having a bad World
Uh,
Cup? Look at Lamens from Belgium.
yeah, that's your question, Simba.
Um, all United players. Rashford is having an okay World Cup, I think.
We're talking about current season. Rashford
Um,
doesn't count. Rashford doesn't count.
okay, United players. Okay, let's look. England. What you got? Kobe Mainoo's not having a great World Cup.
We made
He's with England. Spain. There's no United players in Spain, right?
Casemiro is one that had
Casemiro didn't have
poor
not
World
have a
Cup.
great World Cup.
No.
Yeah, garbage World Cup.
Bruno Fernandes.
I think Bruno Fernandes didn't have a brilliant World Cup, but he didn't have a bad one either. What's his name? Cunha. I think Cunha had a good World Cup. I don't think it was his fault that Brazil didn't qualify. Right? It wasn't his fault. I think he had a good World Cup. I think Cunha had a good World Cup. Who else? Who else would they say? Tillmans.
He's not yours yet, though. He hasn't played a game yet.
He's medical. He's a very United player. We don't have that many. We don't have that many at the World Cup because if you look at England, there's only Rashford who's really, he's a Man United player, but and it's Kobe Mainoo who's on the bench. So and then you look at what Spain. Spain got like zero, right? There's no Man United players, right? In Spain,
No.
None, right? But Martinez is having a brilliant World Cup. Oh, he said except for Martinez.
Yeah.
Martinez is having a good World Cup for Argentina. Who else do we have? We got nobody else, right? And then
here's my 2 cents as not a Manchester United as not as a non-Manchester United fan.
There's not that many. There's not that many.
Yeah, but I think the difference between Martinez and the other players is that it's Argentinians are known to play up for their country, right? They level up when they're playing for their national teams. You know what I'm saying? Like when Martinez is playing for I don't know what the nickname is for Argentina.
Ahmad had a brilliant World Cup. Ahmad had a brilliant World Cup. Ahmad had a brilliant World Cup.
Yeah, he had a good.
He scored the goal of the tournament. He had a brilliant World Cup. Not even for his standard. Yeah. He had a brilliant World Cup. Mazraoui had a brilliant World Cup. Right, for Morocco. He was very, very good, right? Right? He was very good. He was bodying players, but he was very good. I mean, like Mazraoui, excellent World Cup. Kobe Main, what's his name? Ahmad Diallo, excellent World Cup.
I'll give you Ahmad.
Martinez, excellent World Cup so far, right? Look, because you have to think about it. Look, okay, when you look at the Brazilian team, right? Who did Cunha perform? But no, he didn't. He had a very good World Cup. I think Cunha was very good, right? It wasn't his fault that Brazil didn't qualify. Casemiro had a shit World Cup. He was garbage. He was not good at all. People running past him. He showed his age. He was not good.
He's
right?
coming to the MLS.
Kobe Mainoo hasn't even had a sniff, right? I think Rashford, I think he's been okay. Right? Rashford's been okay.
Doesn't have enough time.
Sonny Lemons, I think, is completely and utterly unfair. Lion Tao, and I think it's completely unfair. Imagine you having played the whole World Cup. You come in, last 20 minutes against Spain, the European champions. I think it's unfair. I don't think it's a first ever World Cup match.
I'm a goalkeeper. What I'm saying is that it comes to the territory, right? When you make the saves, you're the hero. When you carry the ball in the wrong direction, I think it comes to the territory. Personally, being the goalkeeper, personally being the goalkeeper, you're on there, especially if you have a good team. You're basically standing there for.
Why do you think teams never sub their goalkeepers? What do you think teams never sub their goalkeepers? Unless sub is having an awful game. Why do you
That's
think
what I'm
they
saying.
never score?
Unless you're having
Because
like a Kinsley
because you
level game.
if you are a goalkeeper, right, you have to have rhythm with your defenders. You have to have rhythm. You have to know what the game's
Yeah.
going on. All these things. Like for you to come on in a quarterfinal, right? The stakes are high. It's 1-1, right? Your team is under pressure, right? Because Spain was dominating possession, right, all the time, right? You're under pressure. I mean, it's a big ask. I know that that he should have done better with that save and everything, but I think that is yes, he made a mistake, but I wouldn't judge his entire World Cup over one moment, one mistake. I think it's unfair. I
I
don't
mean,
think you should judge any human being by one action. The
yeah,
worst
but
action that they
Simba,
could. I don't
here's
think you
the
judge one
reality.
human being.
Our
So I,
our
I wouldn't
job,
say that he had a terrible World Cup. He played 20 minutes, bruv. 20 minutes he
Simba,
played.
our job as fans is to judge them. Like that's literally when you
Yeah,
sign up to
yeah. Yeah.
become the number one for your club, Manchester
But
United. When
no
you sign up to
one,
become,
no
you're going
Belgian.
to
Like
be judged.
if you look at the difference, if you look at the was it the who was the goalkeeper that were coming? Was it a Norwegian goalkeeper? Was like cutting the volley side the whole time. If you look at the Norwegian goalkeeper, right?
Yeah, Norwegian guy.
Yeah, it was a Norwegian goalkeeper. If you look at the commentary, like even the commentators, his teammates, and everything, they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, we love the guy, but he didn't have a good game. Blah 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 blah. All this stuff. If you look at Sunny Lamans, no Belgium guy said that. No, not even on TV they said that. Just it happens because you can't. Like I think it's tough, man, for you like to come on the last 20 minutes like on a quarterfinal and you're under that much pressure.
Mm.
I don't think it happened. But anyway, I think that the statement is not completely true because I think Kuti Mazraoui had a good World Cup. His team made it to the quarterfinals, and he's an African team. Morocco made it to the quarterfinals. I don't know why you're not giving me Mazraoui. Mazraoui had an excellent
Well,
World Cup,
because
right?
ultimately,
And then
you look at let's compare that to PSG. Which PSG players are having a good World Cup? All of them. All of
what
the
do you mean not
PSG
all of
players
them?
are having a good World Cup. All of them are having,
The
in comparison to Manchester United, all of the PSG players are having great World
Okay, so
Cups.
tell me the
Mendes
left
on
back
the
for PSG,
wing.
Mendes and
Yeah,
Mazraoui,
he had a
Mendes
good.
and Mazraoui.
Mendes was better. Mendes was better this World Cup.
Why was he better? Why was he better?
He played a
They
better tournament.
were the
It's
same
not about
level.
it's not about the level. No, performance wise, but we're talking about performance, not talking where they landed in the tournament. Because it's a game.
Mazraoui had an excellent
Game.
tournament. I don't see why you would say he didn't have a good tournament. He had a good tournament. He made it to the
But
quarterfinals with
he
Morocco.
was not
He
Simba
made
in
one mistake.
comparing teams to play. If we're comparing about performances, Mendes was more attacking and more of a threat than
Mazraoui is not
Mazraoui
an
was for team.
attacking player. Mazraoui is not an attacking player. He's a defensive
Right.
player. He defended
So
better than Mendes. Why are
Mendes
you
didn't have
putting emphasis? Why are you putting emphasis on the attack rather than
Mendes
the defense?
Mendes took care of Lamine Yamal,
What do you mean? They
right?
lost.
Simba, his performance. I'm not talking about the result. I'm talking about the performance. Let's separate the two.
But he took care of an
He
injured
had him down
player. Come on, bro.
until he got
Go
hurt.
on, bro.
Mendes
Go on,
had him
bro.
down a
Come
lot.
on, bro.
So this is
Come
the
on,
thing,
bro.
Simba.
Come on, bro.
If
Come
we're
on, bro. But he
talking
didn't do
about like
anything. But what
performances,
did he do? And then he said he was a better attacking player. Tell me, what did he do against Spain?
I
What
don't have the
assist did
stats
he
in front
do?
of me, but I
What
guarantee
goal
you,
did he do?
he was in the box more. He was providing shots. He was doing the free. He scored a free kick. That free kick when he did the shindiggy.
Not against Spain.
I'm talking about performances in the tournament, not
Yes,
results.
I
Simba.
want to talk about most performance in the tournaments, and Mazraoui was
You're
far
choosing you're
better
choosing
defensively.
one you're choosing
I'm giving you an
one
example of
game to compare
Mazraoui.
them.
Ahmad scored the goal of the tournament. He was very
Yes,
good for Senegal,
yes,
right? For
no
sorry, my
complaints
Coast.
whatsoever.
Yeah, he was excellent, right? So that's two
Yeah.
players, right? You've got Martinez. That's three players, right?
No. Martinez and Ahmad, yes, for sure.
And
Those two.
Mazraoui. That's three players. That's three
And
players.
my argument
Because
is
you've
Mazraoui is not really included in that thing. He
why
had
he's a mentioned
okay,
player. He had a
fine.
good. His team made it to the quarterfinals, and they're one of the best defenses in the tournament,
His
and he was part of
performance
that
though.
defense.
His
He
performance.
was good. He was defending. That was his job
Simba,
to defend. That's his job in the team.
you're giving
Sorry, you're cutting up. I can't hear you. I can't hear you
I'm
again.
hear me. Restart.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Sorry, guys.
Back. Am I back? Hi.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So final
Why
point,
are you
Simba.
poo-pooing Mazraoui
Final
defense?
final
Defending. Why,
point.
why, why,
Final
why
point.
are you poo-pooing defending?
I'm trying to speak to Lion Tao's comment here. Lion
Mm.
Tao probably is a Manchester United fan, right? And to his
It's
point,
my, yeah.
he's unimpressed with the performance of his team's players in the World Cup. And what I'm saying is, if you compare it to the the team that played the best club football in the world, you can see that go through the list of the PSG players that they're all performing at a high level, even the ones that are out of the tournament. So I can see why that player is like, yeah, I wish the other players were playing up to the standard that Martinez is playing at, that Arma is playing at. It may be more of
No,
a talk about depth
his
and the
his
quality
statement
of
is
the
like,
team.
his statement is like, why are they not having had a bad World Cup except for Martinez? So I said bad World Cup. Now, are you saying that Mansawi had a bad World Cup?
No.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. I said Cunha had a
Okay,
bad World Cup.
three. No.
Yeah, there you go. So that's four. There you go. So I think the majority of Man United players had a good World Cup. The majority, because if you look at them right there, that's four.
Simba's a
Look,
politician, guys. Simba's gonna get into
I'm
politician
not,
mode.
I'm not a politician. I'm a farmer. I'm a farmer. Let me put it that way. So we'll talk about the Man United midfield and the signing, right? So you got Yuri
Yes.
Tillmans, right? I think if he's a supplementary player, Bo, I love that.
Mm.
That's great. And yeah, Andre Santos, for instance, Andre Santos. Now a lot of people, I think they mistake. They think the scouting departments are. They think that every scouting department is like Newcastle. No, it's not. Andre Santos, we were tracking him when he was at the Under 19 World Cup, right? Where he was the captain. He won the player of the tournament. He captained Brazil to the win. I think he was the joint top scorer, a joint top creator as well. So we actually bid for him with Chelsea, but then Chelsea outbid us for his signature, right? And so he's a player that we've been tracking for a while, for years actually, Andre Santos, right? And so this is not a signing out of the blue, right? So what clubs do, right? They have a list of priority. Fine. Elliot Anderson maybe was the top of the list, but he's worth 120 million pounds. So that goes out the window,
Yeah.
right? You got Mateus Fernandez, right? Who was worth 85 million pounds, right?
Mm.
That goes out the window, right? Because also remember, like Mateus Fernandez wanted to do like a sort of like pitches against Tottenham. Like, okay, Tottenham are offering me this. What are you gonna offer me? So Man United were like, nah, we're not gonna do it. If you don't wanna come, you don't wanna come. So it's
Yeah.
out the window. You got Tonali, 100 million pounds, ridiculous, out the window, right? So those are your priorities. You're going down the list. You're going down the list, right? And I think Andy Santos was next. He was on that list. He was next. Now he's in, right? 50 million pounds. I think it's a steal. I think it's because if you look at how highly rated he is, and he's 21 years old, guys. He's 21 years old, and so I like him. He speaks English. He's good friends with Cunha. So he will fit right in. He also is a Portuguese speaker, so there's lots of Portuguese, Bruno Fernandes, all these players that speak Portuguese. So I think he'll fit
Mm.
right in. I think that as a development type player, he's good. So far in the transfer window, Manchester United have had a right now the grade is in suspension, right? So like like if you commit a crime, you're suspended, you get a suspended sentence, right? Unless you do something. So right now we're in suspended state.
Red card suspended. Red card
Yeah, red
suspended.
card suspended. That's what I'll say. I'll say red card suspended, right? If we then get a Baleba, a Manu Kone, like the Kone guy who was at France, playing for France, if we get him, and Roma wants 60 million euros for that guy, but of course we're not the only ones. Arsenal trying to get him, Liverpool trying to get him, all the other
Yeah.
clubs trying to get him. But if we can get Manu Kone, right, and apparently we also bid for him in January, by the way, we tried to inquire about him in January as well. So again, it's not a
Mm.
panic buy, it's not because he's now sparking at the World Cup, right? So there's him, there's Baleba, who had a terrible season last season, but I think he's a good player in there, right? If we can get a João Gomez, Scott at Bournemouth, but I think Scott at Bournemouth is going to cost 85 million pounds, 90 million pounds. The Bournemouth are like, we don't have to sell him, but we're not, if we want him, he's 85 million pounds. Also, he wants, but he doesn't want to sign a new contract as well. He's like refusing to sign a new contract, so it looks like he wants to move. So you got that situation where there's a couple of options. If we can land some of those players, so imagine now you got a midfield like a number 8 and number 6. So I'm talking about midfield. You got a midfield. In fact, let's name all of them. You got Bruno Fernandes in your number 10 with Mason Mount subbing on for him, right? Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, right? And then you got youngsters like Shea Lacey, JJ Gabriel in the academy who can play in that position. Very, very promising, right? So those are your number 10 position covered. You got 2 players there. And then your number 8 position, you got Kobe Menu, you got Yuri Tillmans, right? In your number 8 position, that's covered.
Mhm.
Boom. And then your number 6 position, you got Andre Santos and you got Beleba or Manu Kone. That becomes an excellent transfer window, right?
So
If it's only those, if there's no addition there, or we get someone like I don't know, we get like a Granit Xhaka or something stupid like that, then of course then it becomes a because then you're asking yourself where the legs in midfield, who's actually gonna carry, who's actually gonna be defending in this midfield, right? And then it becomes very, very, very dire. So yeah, so it's a
I th-
suspended red card or a green
I
card.
think I think I think the optics of it, right? And we've talked about this off air, I should say, but about how ridiculous the money is that Tottenham is like forking out for these players. Like the whole early transfer numbers are just ludicrous, right? Like big money for all these players. I think every team wants to invigorate their fan base going into the new season, right? Um, I'll use my team as an example. Leeds ended on a high. We were we stayed out of the relegation battle at the end of the season. We performed well all the way through the last 3 or 4 games. Then we come into our offseason and the major signing the first signing that we've made, Harry Wilson, which for us is a huge step in the right
Great signing.
direction, right?
Great signing.
So
Great signing.
optics, right? In the terms of optics there, tick, right? Big tick for Leeds and our fan base. Because now we're excited, we're invigorated. That may be the biggest thing that we have, but it's like, you know what? That's a move that's showing, all right, we're getting players that are on the upright that have played. Another Welsh player for us. We're stacked with Welsh players. We lost one, but we gained one. Um,
The
and then
Valleys.
and then you yeah, and then you look at um, Manchester United ending it on a good run, right? You end your season on a good run, right? You've made the decision. You've selected your gaffer, Carrick, forever Carrick, right? You're going into this. You're like, all right, Bo, we're through. People are playing
Viva
well.
Carrick,
Lamed is
Viva.
playing well. Shishko is starting to score goals. Everything. Cunha is starting to play well. All right, you're on the high. And now you're back to like, as you always said, historically biggest club in the world, on the levels with the Arsenals, the Man, above the Man, historically, we should be in the spotlight. Da, 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 da. Tottenham is lucky to survive. We were nowhere near there. Tottenham comes out the gate with a new gaffer, making big plays, big moves. And people are like, oh, all right. Over to you. Over to you, Manchester United. What's your move? New gaffer, a bit of contention about his selection, and you go and get Santos and you get Yuri Tillmans after everybody knows that the whole Edison thing was happening in the background, right? Optically, because I think to your point, you're right. He is a solid player, and if he's your, I mean, he's probably your league player, but he's I don't know, champions. I don't know where he lands, but he's a good player, right? But like optics, it's like it's not really to the standard. And I think that's what we're running into that wall where you're looking at it strategically and be like, Santos is young. Santos just got a raw deal at Chelsea. Santos could be a great starter some game, but he's do start all the FA Cup games. You start all the
He's good.
Carabao
He's
Cup games. You know what I mean? Like,
right now. Is gonna be right now. The starting formation, the starting lineup for right now, as we're speaking, is gonna be Andres Santos, Kobe Menu, and Bruno Fernandes. Right. That's
so
the starting. So
right.
he's a starter right now.
And on paper,
Would like a better
that's
player than that to be
correct.
starting.
And I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. It's like, realistically, my view is that like it just seems like this is a reflex buy after Tillman in particular. Is a reflex buy after the Edison thing fell through, and they're like, okay, we got to get somebody. We got to make a move. We got to fill that spot because we spot. So it feels like a knee jerk reaction to like what's
Knee jerk
going on
reaction. Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that they're going to be more. In many ways, I feel like, and a lot of other teams I think are waiting to see, because here's the thing: teams are going to have to sell. These teams that are spending 100,
Tottenham.
Tottenham is going to have to sell. So you're looking at the Benton cores who might be available. You're looking at
Ben, Bentaleb.
uh,
Uh,
yeah, but yeah, those guys. You're looking at maybe the Madisons of the world like depart. So
yeah.
he probably stays. But like you're looking at the Madisons. You're looking now at the guy Gray, Archie Gray. Like maybe
Archie
Archie
Gray.
Gray then like goes
Yeah.
down the line. You know what I'm saying? Or you keep Archie Gray and you get rid of the other guys. So Archie's like your backup to these other guys. And where are you
Sal,
going? Sar's
Besui,
going.
Besuma.
Basuma's gone already. So you're looking at these
Oh,
teams
where
like
did he
that.
go?
I don't know, but he's not coming back. I think that was already established last season. Like at the end
Okay.
of the season, he wasn't going to come back. Um, You're looking at Manchester City that's going to have to unload some players. So is Manchester City going to get rid of some of their, what's his name, he was exciting for a while, the shorter, light-skinned guy? What's his name? Uh, Before O'Reilly kind of shot him was this other guy who was like kind of
Oh, the
um,
English guy.
the English guy. So like that guy, like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
maybe he gets it. Elliot, right? Elliot is from Liverpool. Like he's looking to get regular playing time. So I think there are going to be a lot of
But the
players.
coach, Iriola said that Elliot is staying. He said that right now he's not going anywhere. He came out and
Oh,
said
I
it.
thought recently. Okay, because I thought recently I'd read maybe I read a different thing that
And I
said
saw, he had an interview yesterday where you're saying, look, he's with us right now, and I haven't spoken to him yet. But as so far as
he's
going right now is in our plans. But you says you never
right.
know. Yeah.
Because in opposition to, let's talk about Liverpool for a second. I read Ariola is like we need players. Right? Ariola is verbally saying what he needs to do. Chelsea's making moves. Tottenham's
They need
making moves.
players. Liverpool.
Liverpool, he was saying
It's
we
been
need
half a
players, right?
billion yes, last year, bro. It's been half a billion
But you
last year.
got rid of Robertson, you got rid of people are getting old. Like, they're talking
Konate is
about trying to
gone.
go for Sunderland guy. What's his name? Bob Broby. I think they're
Bobby.
looking at. I
Bobby.
thought Tottenham. I don't know if it's Liverpool or Spurs, but someone is looking at getting Broby from
Hmm.
Sunderland. Like someone is trying to make moves for him. So verb again, optically, Ariola's putting it out there. Carrick has been quiet, right? And so optically, when you're on this uptick, when Manchester United feels like we're going to go back to the place top four, this is where we ended, this is where we're going to start, hey, with Manchester City we're still waiting to see if they get dock points, not get dock points, what's happening there.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, bro. That's not gonna happen.
Optically, remember I said it. Remember that I said it.
No,
I said
you
it
were
here.
saying that the points were gonna go down. You said the points are gonna be as high as I said. Right? You didn't say it was
No,
not. It's
you
not
were
gonna
saying they were
be
going to be
10.
30. You're saying they were going to be 30
Yeah,
points plus.
you were
And I
saying they were gonna
said
be like 10 points.
yeah,
You
10,
didn't say it was
15.
not gonna happen.
Zero.
Now it
Yeah,
looks like
but I
it's
was
zero.
close.
It looks like nothing's gonna happen.
I
You're
was
close.
closer. My number was
You're
closer.
close.
But my point was, see, they're too weak. They're too weak
Sorry,
to make
I just
moves.
bastard, bro. They bid 100 million for they bid 100 million for the young Moroccan. Is it
Oh, the
Badawi?
midfielder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just
But
put 100 million for him. Yeah, they just put 100 million for him, right? So it's
bro,
like they put 120 million for friggin' pounds for 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 um
Anderson.
Anderson, and now they put like 100 million euros for this youngster, right? And they're also gonna bid apparently 60 million pounds for Kamavinga. So it's like, okay, what are we doing here, bro? Like, is there any? I know
And he's
Mamouche. They're gonna sell Mamouche,
yeah,
and apparently Tottenham and Newcastle
fine
are
for
fighting
him.
for the signature. Yeah, and you know the way Newcastle and Tottenham overpaid, they're not gonna pay like
Yeah.
50, 70 million for Mamouche, right?
So people are
And
gonna
so for
sell,
me,
right? People are selling.
yeah,
So
bruv.
it's in many ways it's smart to get good guys. You spend less than 100 million, you've got two solid players that can start,
Yeah, bruv.
rotate, whatever, right? On
85
paper it's good.
million Premier League proven,
Right.
experienced,
But
or especially with Tillman's experience, right?
Tillemans, but
But
the long term, like the optics of it is a bit
we're
poor
not
for
gonna
a
get,
team that
we're not
wants
gonna
that
get the,
in that conversation that they want to be back.
we're not gonna get. Look, here's the thing, right? Is like, I think one thing that Manchester United fans need to realize that I think when Chomeni was using us to get a new signature for Real Madrid, right?
Yeah.
When Valverde did the same thing as well, right? Because now the Real Madrid have confirmed Chomeni is going to get a new contract. Valverde is getting a new contract. So is Vinny Jr. getting a new contract. They're all
Yeah.
staying. They all talk to Mourinho. He's very happy with them. They're not going anywhere. Those guys are staying, right? And so those guys were just using us to get my new signatures, my new contracts, stuff like that, to put people under pressure. Because that's what people
Mm.
do, right? They say, we're going to go to Manchester United. And then what do? We just to Kabila, we come to Man United, right? So Chomeni was never coming to Manchester United. He never thought about it. Right? It's very, very evident. He's doing to us what Sergio Ramos used to do to us, what Cristiano Ronaldo used to do to us back in the day. All these, but they use Manchester United. Toni Kroos used to do to Manchester United as well. Same
Mm.
thing. My good Man United, but it was never going to happen. And so I think that we can forget. There's not going to be a marquee signing for Manchester United this season. It's not going to happen. We're not going to get a Yan Diomande or a Chomeni or a Vinny Jr. Something like we're not going to get any of those marquees. It's not going to happen, right? We're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So the thing about it now is you have to think of it practically. What makes sense? So right now, I think when I
Pragmatism.
look at
Remember
Manchester,
pragmatism,
yeah,
Janatara.
yeah, practically, right?
Southern
What
African.
pragmatism, right? Yeah, what makes sense? We need legs in midfield. So we need at least one player who's got legs because that's the one thing we lack. Bruno Fernandes, Yuri Tillmans, Kobe Mainu, and Santos. Very good players on the ball. Mason Mount on the ball. Very, very good passers of the ball. Very, very good distributors of the ball. Very, very good keepers of the ball. But they don't have legs. They don't have legs to cover and defend. So we need a pure number six, right? And so for me, that's the priority now, right? Another priority, if we get rid of Rashford, is we need a left winger, right? Because I don't think
Yeah.
Cunha playing on the left wing is the long term solution. It's really not. He's not a left winger. He's a number 10 or a number 9, right? So I think
Mm.
if Cunha and Sheshko are swapping as a number 9, I think your team is doing very well. I think on the left, we 100% need a left winger. So we're apparently in fighting with Liverpool and Arsenal to get Somerville, right? But apparently we're in the
Mm.
lead to get some of our signature. That's a good start, right? But I don't know why we're not also fighting for Bacola, right? I would also fight for Bacola. But anyway, we're getting rid, but we need to get rid of Rashford. When Rashford goes on the left, then we can also bring in a left winger. So I think if we can get Somerville, let's say Rashford goes, if we can get, let's say we get Kone for 50 million pounds, because Roma wants 60 million euros for him, right? Let's say we get him for 50 million
Yeah.
pounds and then we get Somerville for a similar amount of money, right? 50 million pounds, and let's say 50 million pounds, right? Because then that's I don't know how much it's gonna cost, right? Which means I would have spent 185 million pounds, right? And would have gotten Santos, um, um, let's say Kone, Tillmans, and Somerville, right? Those four players compared to Tottenham, who got Tonali and Fernandez for the same amount of money. You see what I'm saying? That
Yeah,
for
but then
me
they get
then
a
makes
Rashford. They
makes
spend more
sense.
money to get Rashford, and they look better next season. Then it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
if they
It's
get
like
Rashford, I would be so happy if they get Rashford. Yo,
there's talk. There's talk of him going to Rashford going to
they must
Spurs.
get him. They must come and buy him. We need him to go, bruv. We need him to go. They must get Rashford. He would like. I think that he would last one season because Rashford is look. Rashford, as much as I love Rashford, he's a mercenary. He's become the moment he signed for Clutch Sports. The moment he signed for Clutch Sports, right? And Clutch Sports, the Rich Paul and them guys, LeBron and them guys, that's the way they think. They're mercenaries, those guys. The player is
Mm.
always first, all that kind of thing, which is fair and fine, right? But Rashford will give you a great. Why didn't Barcelona spend 85 million pounds,
I
euros, sorry,
know,
on Anthony Gordon? They could have
Gordon.
gotten Rashford for 25 million euros. He said, nah, we'd rather go and spend another 50, 60 million on top of that to get Anthony Gordon. That tells you all you need to know about Marcus Rashford. All you need to
Yeah.
know about Marcus Rashford, right? So for me,
So
he needs to go. And then just a final point about Michael Carrick. You said Michael
mm.
Carrick is quiet, right? But this is what I said to you guys, right? The guys that wanted Michael Carrick. Remember what I said to you? This is what I said to you, right? Don't expect Michael Carrick to make any noise. That's not who he is.
Mm.
That's not who he is. Look at all the signings, right? Yuri Tillmans, Andre Santos, the Darlow. It wasn't Michael
Hello.
Carrick who was there posing with. It wasn't. It was what's his name? Our sporting director. He's the guy who was posing
Yeah, the
with the
players.
players. Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
how it's going to be. Michael Carrick has got nothing to do with that situation. Michael Carrick probably just says, "Look, I like a midfielder. I like maybe two midfielders, and I like a winger." And they'll be like, "Oh, okay, sure. Thank you for your input." And then you can go now. And then they now the grown men now discuss what's shocking in the board. Michael
Here's
Carrick's
the
got no
problem.
influence on him. He
When
doesn't have.
on,
But
I'll say
that's
one more
what
thing
people
about
wanted. That's what Man
yeah.
United fans wanted. That's what they wanted,
Well,
right?
well,
That's what they wanted, and that's what you're gonna get.
they
That's what they
again
wanted, Spally.
they fell in love with the results. They were seeing results and they fell in love with results. Let me just say
If
that.
you think if
So
you think Michael Carrick's gonna be like Ruben Amrin or Alex Ferguson or Mourinho, someone like, hey, my signings, I want this on. It's not gonna happen. He's just not that guy. Michael Carrick is a
so
gentleman. He's gonna be quiet.
so my point for Manchester United, if I'm one, I hope you guys don't get Somerville, not because he's not good, but as a Leeds fan, that just hurts. I hope he goes to Liverpool or somewhere else. If you get him,
He's coming to
good on
United,
you.
bro.
He's good. I don't know. I don't know if I see it. I don't know. He wasn't a big Leeds fan. He was like the most loyal Leeds player. You know, he enjoyed it, but like he wants to win.
He's Dutch.
Yeah, he wants to win. I can see him going to play with his homeboy at Liverpool. And Ariola is probably the more of a kind of coach that he vibes with. But going back to the Manchester United topic, because then you'd have to find another winger. But anyway, going back to the Manchester United topic, again, even the optics of your sporting director being with Santos or being with Darlow or whatever is another layer to this cake of like Manchester United guys. Like
That's what we wanted, Fari.
you're not spending you're not
That's what we
spending the
wanted,
money these
Fari.
other people are spending. You're getting people who are like, you know, solid B team players, you know, solid like A minus C, B plus C players,
A
right?
minus, yeah, A
Who,
minus, A minus.
you
Don't be
know,
like
you're
B.
getting
Don't be.
players who
Don't
are
say
like,
B.
it's not like you're getting Calvin Phillips, right? You're getting Santos, who's like, all right. You're getting Tillemans, who's like, yeah, you're solid. You've been in the league since the Leicester days, yeah, but you're not who you were. You're kind of, and then your sporting director is the one shaking hands with you. Optically, again, it just falls into this thing of just the same thing, Yawataura, where I was being like, Manchester United are performing in the World Cup, and you're like Simba, and you're like Fadi, Mamouche is performing, Amadou's performing. Optics, the optics of it is not
Yeah, but look,
really. There's a
Fa-
different rules for Manchester United versus other. And you
to
said
play
this
devils.
to your point. You said this right. Manchester
Yeah,
United is a different standard that you're competing against. You're not against a Tottenham, against a City. You're dealing with the Ferguson. We've talked about the Ferguson legacy. You've talked about da, 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 da. When you're then going into top four in the first time in a long time, you're making signings and you get Darlow, who's just basically chasing the money, right? And good for him.
he's a
All
backup. He's a
respect,
good
good
backup.
for him. Great backup, great backup. But he's going there for the money, right? You're getting Santos, who maybe wants another chance
Potential.
at being a starter,
I think genuinely he's got potential, right? Don't you think
but
so?
it's hard
Genuinely,
because
like
he's never.
potential.
And that's yes, and yes. But
Excuse me,
I
yeah.
think the question is he
Okay,
a
okay.
player that is he a player that's going to rise up and become challenged for the midfield roles in the Brazilian team, right?
I think
Or
so.
has he peaked at his Chelsea days? And Chelsea, the people in Chelsea have seen something that like this guy's hit a plateau. He doesn't have the legs like you're talking about. We need somebody with da, da, da. And like so and it's going to be a true test because the reality is you have a lot of football to play next season, right? Not just in the Premier League. You're playing in Europe now. You're obviously the FA Cup and the Carabao Cups. So there's a lot of football. He will get time to play, either being a starter in the Prem or playing in these other tournaments. He'll show he still has to prove himself, right? At this level,
Look,
he still has to prove, and he's young, like you
he's
said,
not.
he's young,
He's
but he
young. I
hasn't
think.
proven,
Yeah, he hasn't
you know.
proven anything yet. He's young. I think he's got a lot of potential, right? I think he's got a lot of potential. Look, Andre Santos again. For me, I'm not mad at the signing, especially for 48 million pounds, effectively 50 million pounds. It's not like a bank breaker. It's not like. And you have to remember, like, look, do you know who we have left? We've got Ugarte, bro. Ugarte, every time game he plays, we lose. Every game we play, we lose. I'm not, and even look at him when the guy had to buy his own ticket to go back home, bro. He's another guy with a terrible World Cup, right?
Yeah,
He had to buy his own ticket to go cabin, bro. Like that's how terrible Uruguay were at the World Cup. They were awful, and they were like,
yeah,
I
they're
think they're
bad.
like number 3 or number 4 in the world or something like that, right? And they were just awful at the World Cup. They were terrible, right?
Yeah,
For me, like certainly Andre Santos is better than anything we have in the number 6 position, right? He's better, right? And so, and the upside is there. But again, I think to play devil's advocate here, okay. In the past, Manchester United paid all these huge wages and paid all this big money. Let's look at the Brazilian winger. What's his name? The guy who's at Real Betis now, he didn't make the World Cup.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah,
what you're talking about on the right side.
Anthony,
Yes,
Anthony, Anthony,
yeah,
100 million euros for that guy, right?
yeah,
200,000 plus salary. What a waste of money. Sancho, literally the worst signing in the history of football, like the worst signing ever. I can say for Man United, but I think the worst signing for anyone ever. He was purely awful. Like he was awful, awful, awful. Not only in terms of ability, but in attitude, right? That's what I'm saying as well, right? So the other players who performed worse than Sancho have, right? But even his attitude, the first thing comes there and says to Solskjaer, if you think you're signing a right winger, you got something coming. That's his first thing that he says to Solskjaer, right? And we bought him literally to play on the right. That's why we bought him. But he was quiet, signing, smiling. And once he gets the bags, like, now I want to play on the left. We've already got Rashford and Martial playing there, right? I mean, that's how much of a dick that guy is. Like, that guy is an awful person. Like, I really, Sancho, for me, if that guy was on fire, I would piss on him. I'm joking, of course I would. But that's how much I don't like him. He is the worst signing because not only was he a horrible attitude, horrible human being to his teammates and everybody else, but he was, and you can't say he's young because he was old, right? He was like in his mid 20s, right? In experience, he had been in Borussia Dortmund, Man City, whatever. You got Garnacho. I think Garnacho you can always say he's young, right? He's a youngster. But if you look at we spent all this money. Rashford right now, we
Mm.
can't get rid of Rashford right now. Why? Because of his salary, his wages. We can't get rid of Ugarte. Why? Because of his high wages. And so I think the thinking of Manchester United this time was that look, we need to be more practical. Number one, we want to sign players that want to come to us. So as soon as Tonali and Matthias Fernandes did that mercenary stuff, they were like, look, you don't want to play for Man United, you don't want to. That's okay.
Mm.
Go to Tottenham. Then. Go and spread your wings at Tottenham, right? You don't want players like like thing with you guys and Harry Wilson. He could have gone in a lot of places, but the fact that he chose Leeds, it shows you that guy's not be dedicated because he that was his choice. It was
Yeah.
his choice to come to Leeds, right? And so for me, like I can understand that situation. Now in terms of like this, what's happening now is what Manchester United fans voted for. This is what we wanted, right? Not me personally, but that's what Manchester United fans wanted. They didn't want Sheikh Jassim to buy the club, right? They were behind Sir Jim Radcliffe buying the club, right? Oh, we don't want Saudi money, we don't want Qatar money, right? So there's no 100 million checks anymore because that's not how Radcliffe's not that. He's not that rich. He's like a billionaire, like single billion, right? Whereas in the Qataris are trillionaires, right? Sheikh Jassim would have bought that stadium with his own cash, bruv, right? Not like trying to petition the city, whatever, right? So we didn't want Sheikh Jassim. We wanted Sir Jim Radcliffe, right? We got Sir Jim Radcliffe. This is what comes with it. We didn't want De Zerbi or Iriola or any of these players. No, we wanted Michael Carrick, right? That's what the fans wanted, and that's what you're going to get. And so with Michael Carrick, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, you're not going to get any of these blockbuster moves. You're not. So what we can hope, right, is that they make smart moves that are cheaper. They hire the Red Bull sporting director Vital, right? That's what he does. He buys cheap and sells high. That's literally what he does. So if you're expecting us to spend £100 million on Elliot Anderson, it's never going to happen at Manchester United. It's not going to happen for the next 10, 15 years, 10 years or so.
So
Until
this
we're
is
flush with cash. It's
this
not
is
going to happen.
going back to my point that I made earlier about pragmatism. You can be pragmatic on a small team. You can be pragmatic when you're Leeds. You can be pragmatic when you're Bournemouth. You can be pragmatic when you're Brighton. Once you get to these levels of the Manchester United, I should say, of the Man Cities, then pragmatic choices seem to lack. Uh, they seem uninspired, right? And I think that's where you and your camp, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but it seems like you and your camp, the same thing we're talking about Ronaldo and like expectations and like you can't bench him or whatever. That's romanticized things. The history that your club has, right, is creating a discrepancy between the pragmatic approach and an approach that resonates with the fans. Because to your point, and I see
The
these
fans
are
wanted it.
pragmatic picks. These are pragmatic picks by the
But
sporting
the fans
director by
wanted
Manchester
it.
United. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Pragmatism and fandom. You have to know what you're signing up for. When you're saying this, Sir, what's his name, Sir, whatever. He's a
So Jim
pure
Ratcliffe.
pragmatic. He's a pure pragmatic businessman. He's coming there. He's looking at the books and he's saying they need to balance.
Yeah,
You
that's why
guys
he
need to make
fired
this
like a
balance.
billion people in the club. He
Right.
fired loads of
It's
people.
all about balancing the
Yeah.
books. It's all about
Yep.
making things cost effective, whatever.
Yeah.
That does not align with the
We want to buy
reverie
Mbappe.
yeah,
Of buying
and does not
Mbappe.
align with
Yeah.
having the Ronaldos, the young Ronaldos, having
Or
the
Lise.
era of, what I'm saying? It's like that era of Manchester United is gone, not just on the
And
field,
sad. It's a bit
but
sad.
in the office, right? Because now it becomes
Mm.
now, and then you have other clubs like the one in your city, right? That
Yeah.
are like, we are still living this passion dream. We are throwing money at these things. We are romanticizing it.
They've bought the Premier League and they've paid off the Premier League, and yeah. So that they can do what they want. They can
So
spend a lot. Newcastle should do the
it's like
same thing. Newcastle didn't pay off the Premier League because Newcastle have money, but they can't even spend it, bro. Newcastle keep on. I'm sorry, mate. Newcastle, as bad as Manchester United is, Newcastle is worse, bro. They lost another midfielder to Aston Villa. They lined him up. You're supposed to be coming. Was it Bakamba? What is that? I forget what his name is. You lined him up. Dope is coming through, and then last minute Aston Villa.
So for the life of me, I didn't understand what was
Newcastle, oh
happening.
my god, bro.
When
Yo.
they got bought by the Saudi, I was like, right, here's another power team. They're gonna go get the best players in Europe, and they did next to nothing. Like they
No,
Eddie Howe. They didn't do like they didn't make the kind of moves that like Manchester City made when they first got there.
yeah.
Like they were just
But it
like
was I think it's optics, like what you said, right? Remember, they had to fight a lot of backlash. Man City was bought by the time when Man City was bought, nobody really cared, right? Because they were one of the first ones, so there was no backlash. But when Newcastle was bought, hey Saudi money, hey Saudi Arabia kill people, hey HGG, hey politics, all the stuff.
true.
So then they came and said, look, we can't go in there now splash $1 billion. We can't do it, right? So what they did is they hired an English sporting director, that woman, the lady, I forget what her name is. They hired the English CEO, sorry, right? And they said, look, hire an English manager, an English sporting director. So Dan Ashworth, English sporting director, everything was English so that they could appease the politics.
Yeah.
But apparently, I read an article where they're saying by I think it was Dave Ornstein, who's very reliable, and he was saying that this is Eddie Howe's last season. Like after the season,
I thought he was gonna be gone this season. I thought he was
he was close to going this season, but they're saying like they're done. They're not patient anymore. They don't want this nonsense anymore. So I think they're not gonna start. I think they started buying off some officials, like the Premier League officials. I also think they're waiting for the Man City to see how it flashes as well, right? Because I think if Man City get away with what they're gonna get away with, which looks like they're gonna get away with it, then I think that opens the gates for a lot of these, for Newcastle. I think Man City will have a rival in Newcastle. Because if Man City can spend the amount of money that they're spending, like not caring about the books, creating companies, like they literally create companies that like say, like let's say you're Movuku United, right? And then Simba United, you're my homie. So you give me the money, and I'm like, oh Simba, here's some cash, bro. And then I'm like, I want to sponsor Movuku United. And then I come in there and I'm like, okay, just for like media stuff, just do like a shoot for me. And then I pay you $20 billion. I mean, come on, bro. Like everybody can see that there's emails, that correspondence that was caught, all that was caught, but nothing's going to happen. So if they can do it, then Newcastle are going to do the same thing and get away with it. If they get slapped on the wrist, like a slap on the hand, which I think is what's going to happen, because I think you're going to drag this out as long, because we know this, we're Africans, fine. That's what you do. You drag it out for as long as you can. For as long as you drag it out and you drag it out and you drag it out and you drag it out. And then after that, what do? A little slap on the wrist, right?
Yeah.
So for me, Newcastle are badly run. But yeah, look, I think what you're alluding to is actually it's really, really depressing. Back in the day, Van Persie was available, we get Van Persie. Rooney was available, we get Rooney, right? Lewandowski was available, we got Lewandowski. But then we ended up saying no to Lewandowski. We said no to Lewandowski, right? Ronaldinho was available, we went and got Ronaldinho. Then we said no to Ronaldinho, stupidly, right? But all these players were available. We said no. Haaland was available. We said no to Haaland. If you watch Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's interview, we were like, nah, we don't really need him. But he was there. All the best players, we used to compete for them. Rafael Varane said no to us, but we competed with Real Madrid for Rafael Varane. Benzema, we were on the market competing with the Real Madrid for Benzema, for Karim Benzema, right? Right? All these great players, we were on the market. Now Yan Diomande is available. Crickets. Elliot Anderson is available. Crickets. Right? If Olise was going to get sold, Man United have got nothing to do with that situation. They're going to go to Real Madrid, Arsenal, Man City, PSG, something like that. Nothing. We've got nothing to do with that. So now you're right. It's sad. We're not part of it anymore. But that is what we voted for, Fari. So for me, I'm not depressed about it. I don't even think about it because I know as soon as Carrick was the manager, I knew that is the situation that we're going to be under.
See, this is
what I made these videos, my dear Carrick videos. I told the fans. I told them, guys. I told them.
I mean, you said it to your detriment, but you said it. Good for you, man. Sticking to your guns.
I said it. Yeah. I think let's because we'll talk about it. We'll meet again tomorrow, right? So we can do it tomorrow. I think end with the fact that the World Cup, right? So who did you say your money? So you're saying that you think that France will win, but you're open for an upset, right?
Yeah,
All right, cool.
I
That's
think
it.
France handles it. I don't think Spain has enough attacking prowess. I think France is going to put a lot of pressure on Spanish back line, and they're not young Phillies. They're actually young and old, right? The center backs. So one is young, one is old, and they're going to be tested like they've never been tested before. So I see France. It may not be a high scoring game, but I think it's going to be a dominant performance by France, controlling the ball. It's maybe another 1-0 game like Paraguay game, but I think France does it. But there could be a level of overconfidence, and Spain could sneak in one, but realistically, I don't see it happening.
Okay, cool. And then let's end on the World Cup expansion. So Infantino is wanting to add the 16 more teams to the World Cup. Yo, hey, Zimbabwe might have a chance of making it, bro.
I mean, I'd
Honestly,
go.
imagine,
I'd
because
go.
imagine if there's 16 more teams, right? You're gonna imagine there's gonna be two or three more African teams, right? Maybe three,
Yeah,
maybe two,
yeah.
right? Two or three,
I'd say
right?
it's three. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, two or three. Let's say three. Maybe one of them is gonna be a playoff team, but certainly two spots, and then one of them being a playoff teams, right? And then probably Europe will probably have another maybe four. Maybe one of them being a playoff team. So that's what
Mm,
we're on. We're on what? Let's say we're
seven,
seven or
seven or
eight,
six.
and then maybe another three. Then maybe three to Asia as well, because we get three to Asia. Probably get three, right? And then South America will get maybe two as well. We'll get two,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hold on. So it's a three, seven, 10, 2. Yeah, the four, and then the rest goes to Oceania and
Mm.
whatever.
Australasia or
Yeah,
whatever.
Australasia, whatever, Caribbean, North America, whatever. But that,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. Look, the thing
I
about
mean,
it, when you talk about a celebration of football, it makes sense in terms of having more teams, right? But now imagine having a two rounds before the round of 16.
so this is my thoughts on the whole thing. We touched on this early on, right? In terms of 2 rounds before the round of 16, I think that's too much football for these top teams. I think
Yeah,
it'll aid them because they have depth. Maybe Kobe Manu gets to play actually in the first 4 or 5 games. Kobe Manu gets one game, um,
oh my god.
but
Oh my word. Oh
because
my word.
if Tuchel's staying there, unless he does something crazy, Tuchel's there until the next World Cup, right?
Oh yeah, because he's already qualified.
Like
Because once he got to the
he
semifinals,
secured himself
he's already
semifinals.
secured the job. Yeah, semifinals
He's
already
through.
got
He's
secured the
through.
job. Yeah.
So Kobe better start buying him flowers. I don't know. But we'll leave Kobe. We'll let Kobe be Kobe. We'll let Kobe show his class in the field. Let's just say that. Um, so more football for these teams, right? But as is evident, we've just talked about Manchester City not being really like you know paying off the league to like guess having nothing happen to them. FIFA has shown the world that they don't care. They are influential. They can bend knee. They will bend the knee. They will kiss the ring if they need to. And that's for nothing. If we didn't think they were about profit before, that's nothing more apparent than that. And to my point earlier, expanding it gives the illusion of spreading the game.
Of
But
Ubuntu.
to your
Yeah,
point of Ubuntu, but to your point, expanding the game actually means developing it in these regions that need the
yeah,
development, right? That's
yeah,
actually really expansion. That's when your your motivation is based on improving the quality of the game across the globe.
yeah,
This is a cop out. It's saying let's give more people opportunities, but keep the tournaments in these places where they have an established systems where we don't have to spend money and we can charge people $1,000 a ticket, increase our revenue while optically looking like we're expanding the game. So, do I think it's a good idea?
yeah. World
No,
Cup tickets are
in
too
that,
expensive, honey. Shoot.
bruh, I was looking here in LA,
Oh
whatever,
my god.
booze the seats up at the top, whatever, thousands of $1,000
Where's the
dollars.
final? Is the final in LA?
No, the final is in New York, which apparently has the worst pitch of the whole tournament. Everybody was complaining about that pitch in New York. The weather's also going to be hot as hell, midday game. I mean, it's
And
going to be a disaster.
the
But
semis, where the semis?
the semis are happening. So one is I think today is either Dallas or Atlanta. So both of which are domes. Atlanta is a closed dome. I think Dallas is a dome as well. So those are
Yeah,
two
Dallas is the dome. Yeah.
inside games. So those actually are going to be better games for the players than the final, which is going to be played in an open air stadium.
And
And
then
it's
tomorrow.
Atlanta. So I think it's Dallas
Oh,
today,
Dallas
Atlanta
and
tomorrow.
Atlanta. Okay. So
Yeah,
LA, no more, no
they'll be
more LA.
semifinal. LA's done. LA was the quarterfinals. That was the last thing. But the tickets were like, good seats. You're talking about 30,000 to like more, 300,000. Like you're talking insane amounts, and you can only do this in
And
places that the developed world. So
that's
how
why
does
that's why
how,
they won't bring a World Cup to Zimbabwe because there's no chance, bruh. In like if
and
Zimbabwe,
that
Malawi, and Zambia are hosting the World Cup, you're paying $1,000 for a ticket.
right,
It's not gonna
and
happen,
that's
bruh.
the
It's
cop out.
immoral. It
That's
will
what
never
FIFA is
happen,
doing.
bruh.
FIFA
African
is
tickets are not
is
that expensive in South
basically
Africa.
is bait and switch, right? Magician
Yeah.
move. We'll give you more teams. We'll get Zimbabwe playing. We'll
But
get
Fari,
Singapore playing.
imagine
We'll
how much that
get
is, bruh. How much money are you making
Bolivia
in a
paying.
stadium, bruh?
Bro, you're making so much money,
Millions,
Shiba. Like,
millions.
trust
Imagine
me.
like 50,000 people paying an average of, let's say, because
Right,
if you're saying something like 300,000, let's say an average of like 2 grand per ticket,
right.
50,000.
And the revenue share is probably 70-30 in favor of FIFA.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like FIFA is
of
gonna
course, yeah,
get the big
yeah.
chunk. So
They get the big
again,
chunk of it, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So do I like the expansion? I would like the expansion if they said we are then going to build stadiums in regions of the world, build a
In
stadium in
Vietnam,
Madagascar,
in Vietnam,
in
in
Mozambique.
Malaysia, in
You know what I'm saying?
Mozambique,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Build it in wherever, like these places. But the reality is they're not going to do that. And they're shucking around that by saying, look at how amazing the tournament was. Look at how this, but meanwhile, they've doubled their revenue from the South African experiment, from their, and they're going to have to do it eventually. But what they'll say is they'll go to Australia. Okay, let's go to Australia. They have the infrastructure. They have these MCG. They'll just convert the MCG into a
Well,
soccer
Australia
thing,
won't
and
have
they're
to
done.
Australia won't build a single stadium. They won't build a single stadium.
No, they'll just
Yeah,
turn all their footy
yeah.
stadiums into. So again, it's like I think I think it's a bait and switch, and I think Infantino has shown blatantly that when you can suspend a red card and give no qualms, and UEFA's like, guys, you can't do that, and FIFA's like, watch us, bro, because
No,
now we've expanded the game.
the good thing about this World Cup, I think it's exposed how corrupt FIFA is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
clear. Like, I mean, like, in preparation, I think tomorrow we'll go over the whole Argentina corruption thing because they'll be playing against England, right?
Mm.
I think that England are lucky because England's media is so powerful that even FIFA can't. Even FIFA can't read that game, bro. They will try, but even FIFA can't read the game. But there was a if you just watch from game one, Fari, game one. And the thing about it, right, why it's so disappointing is because it takes away from Messi's brilliance. It really
Yeah.
does. Because Messi has been brilliant. Uh, I would say he's at moments in games where he's been absolutely brilliant, right, for Argentina, right, and I think that takes away. I think this taints his legacy because now, like, if you watch the last World Cup, everyone was happy that Argentina won the World Cup, right? This World Cup, nobody wants them to win it. Like I was watching Jimmy Kimmel the other day, and Jimmy Kimmel was like literally just. Oh, the whole monologue was about how FIFA cheating and how Messi's a cheat and Argentina cheating, and you're like, normally that's Messi's a darling in America. Like who would do a show? Jimmy Kimmel
Yeah.
would never do a show where he's insulting Messi, right? But that's what he was doing because the Blakes, like what they did to Egypt, what they did to Cape Verde, even Austria, bro. Like they couldn't beat Austria clean, bro. And then like look at the last game. Anyway, we'll go into it. We'll go into it. I mean,
Yeah.
the red card, the red card was freaking ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Like
What was the
inventing
young
new
man
rules,
thinking?
bro.
What was the young man thinking, guys?
Look,
Come on.
but no, VR, bro. Come on, bro. When if they ever into again, whatever, we'll go into it. But I think one good thing about this World Cup is it exposed
No.
how corrupt.
Huh?
Oh my
That guy
goodness.
he should have played in Hollywood. He should have got some tips from somebody. I'm like, come on, bro. Come on, Baba.
Spielberg should have that's actually. But anyway, so yeah, so I don't. I think the quality will go down because I think what happens is like, and I don't know why because you don't really want like North Korea versus Saudi Arabia. It's not very entertaining. I don't know, like you do want there to be some meat on the bones. You want the teams because now imagine now if you have that expanded group, right, where three teams qualify, it takes away some of the jeopardy in the group stages, right? Because now Portugal will know that they're definitely going to qualify. Come high, they just need to draw one game or win one game or something like that. So for me, now I like the number. Now I think the tournament was brilliant. I
But
think they're
Simba,
going forward.
which was the worst team at this tournament?
All the teams were good. Curacao.
Curacao, they were competitive,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they're competitive. I think they're the worst team.
Uzbekistan was probably, I think they drew one and they lost two, but like they were competitive, right?
Curacao,
Like
I
they
think,
were
was the
in
worst
it.
team.
So
Curacao, and then I'll probably
apart from
say
the blowout,
Curacao was
apart
pretty
from
good.
the first blowout, right? Apart from there were two games, right? That were
You said
like
it was the
crazy
worst team.
scores.
The worst team, I think, was look. The
Curacao.
most disappointing team was definitely Uruguay. But the worst team, I think, was probably
Curacao.
Curacao. Curacao and the African team, was Algeria? It wasn't Algeria, was it Tunisia? It was Tunisia.
Tunisia was the one. Tunisia was the
Tunisia.
one that didn't get through.
Yeah,
So
Tunisia was pretty bad.
so if you look at that as a metric and say you can add 16 more teams at that level, is it going to mess up the tournament that much?
I
I'm playing
think
devil's
I
advocate
think I think
because
I
if you're
think I
saying
think
Curacao was, they were celebrating
Curacao
Curacao.
is unique because Curacao was also their first World Cup, right? So let's say
Mhm.
maybe not the next World Cup, maybe the next World Cup because there'll be a lot of teams that will be there for the first time, right? Because they'll be there for the first time, they'll be very excited,
Mhm.
they'll put in a lot of effort, right? So Curacao, we love the spirit, we love the way they played. Cape Verde, we love the spirit, we love the way they played, right? Cape Verde, if I'm not African, because I know how Cape Verde play, I watch them every year. That's how they play. Cape Verde,
Mhm.
they didn't change anything. That's how Cape Verde play all the time. That's why they qualify consistently for the Africa Cup of Nations. Consistently they qualify. Consistently they cause big teams problems because they are an effort team. They've got a good goalkeeper. I know how Cape Verde play. But Curacao, I think that Curacao, I think that the next World Cup, they won't be as brilliant as they were this World Cup if they do qualify, right?
All right,
Because they won't be that novelty anymore. Because there's like remember Iceland. Remember Iceland? How people were like
yeah,
jizzing over Iceland, right?
right.
But as soon as Iceland made one or two tournaments, people didn't care anymore.
And that's what you do. You keep bringing in new teams, and even if their quality is poor, people are going to celebrate Zimbabwe being
If
in
it's
the
a
World
new
Cup.
team, yeah. If it's a new team, yeah, for sure. Zimbabwe makes the World Cup for sure. Everyone's gonna be
Yeah,
like super
but that's
witty
what I'm
and
saying.
everything.
It's like so in that's why it's such a great gimmick, right? This is the brilliance. It's absurd, but the brilliance of it is like you're saying that 16 new teams are going to come every tournament. So now you're getting, I don't know, what's this, Panama. Panama already, did they make it last World Cup? So you're getting Haiti? No, Haiti made this World Cup. So you're getting, you're already getting these things and it's a spectacle, it's exciting.
Haiti was also pretty bad as well. Haiti was pretty
Haiti
bad as
was
well.
poor. But again, it's like the darlings, right?
Yeah, you're getting like Granada,
You're right, exactly. Guyana, Granada.
Grenada,
You know what I'm
Grenada,
saying? You're getting Santo May. Imagine if Santo May,
Santo Tomé,
like
yeah,
like a little
Fiji,
island. Mozambique,
Fiji.
yeah, Fiji. You know, what is that? What is Shirin Davas is from? Why am I forgetting this?
Sri Lanka,
Sri Lanka. You know what I'm saying? You're like, so the
China.
gimmick is
Imagine
it's
if China
getting
makes the World Cup.
exciting. Or Taiwan will be playing. So it becomes exciting,
That
right?
would be so interesting. I would love that because Taiwan apparently is not a country, isn't it? So it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to
So
see.
like beef between
Yeah.
like they both make it, and then it's like, oh boy.
Oppa.
So if I'm Infantino, I'm like, I'm gonna be selling this. I'm gonna be spinning
Yeah,
all
look,
these cool
it's not
firsts.
going to it's going to be voted for because obviously FIFA,
Yeah.
when most countries obviously will be voted for, obviously
Yeah.
because it means that more people make money. Because if you look at the amount of millions, because I mean just to make the group stage, I think it's like 4 million US dollars something like that. So
Mm.
imagine Senegal, for instance, made it to the round of 32. Right? They must have made 5, 6, 7 million dollars right from that
Yeah.
tournament, which for their FA is a lot of money, right? Imagine Curacao, they got a $5 million check, right?
Yeah.
At least, right? How much money is that? Cape Verde, how much money is that? So
Yeah.
those teams are going to be 100%. If you ask KV to vote for it, they will put up the. So that thing's going to pass. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it. That resolution is going to pass. It's going to be there in the next World Cup. It's going to be there.
One
And then I
one
think
thing, one question for you. One
yeah,
question for you
yeah.
before we go to the final question. Do you think the Olympic president is she going to have integrity and or follow suit of FIFA?
I think the Olympics Olympics. I think are purer than FIFA, right? I think it's a purer competition because I think with Olympics it's purely that's why like again, I won't go into that topic, but I think the Olympics are pure because I think what I like about the Olympics is like, okay, there's a set time. Either you make it or you don't, right? There's a set height. Either you jump the
Mhm.
height or you don't. Regardless of whether they're white, black, young, old, Ashnabas, that's just whatever. And if like for instance with the time, if a certain amount of people make that, whether you're from Saint Tropez, Tome, whatever it is, if you make that time, right? Then you're going to go to the 100 meters. And then they have more. They add more heats. That's what they do. So it's about time. It's not really about excluding people. It's about look, this is the time, right? You make it. This is the height. You make it, right? And
Yeah.
and then also with Olympics, the governing bodies themselves have more of a say. So FIFA has more of a say in the football thing, and the boxing IBF, whatever it is, have more saying in the boxing thing. And then like I think it's only like the athletics where like the Olympic committee is more in charge of that and the
But
athletic stuff.
more so like I'm talking more so like the suspended red card. Like are they going to change rulings on like gold medals versus red? Like because to me that's an integrity thing and like is
Yeah, but they do that a lot, isn't it? The Olympics have been shown to give red cards and like rescind gold medals and then give them and stuff like that, and they've done that for various rules breaches and stuff like that, drugs and stuff like that. So
yeah.
they're not. But look, here's the thing about the red card, right? With the Trump thing, I think look, we josh and kid about it, but I think look, at the end of the day, in fact, this is what I'm always saying. Me, it's about the spectator. At the end of the day, right? America now has got no excuse, right? Because imagine if they lost to Belgium and Balogun wasn't playing. It would have been like,
Mhm.
oh, FIFA, Balogun. Yeah. So I think in that specific instance, it's not a bad precedent, but for that specific incident, and it was a bad thing, but it wasn't so bad, right? Because now America without excuse. They lost fairly. There was no like saying, no, Balogun should have played, and then that would have made a difference against Belgium, and blah 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 blah. Right. So for me, like in that instance where, but then again, Egypt can say, "What about us?" Right? Or Norway can say, "What about us with the ball that hit the wire?"
Right.
Right?
Which they're saying it doesn't. They say FIFA is saying it didn't happen. Still, it's saying it didn't happen.
No, they did say it happened, didn't they?
FIFA are refusing. They said they didn't get any sensor on the ball. People have been. You've seen the pictures, and FIFA is like, the ball, the sensor in the ball didn't spike, so it didn't happen.
Okay. I saw the guys were saying that VAR doesn't. That's not the purview of VAR.
They've
Apparently.
changed their story. FIFA doing
Yeah.
what FIFA
So
does.
apparently, that's what I read. Because they were saying, oh, FIFA are politicians as well. So there's a story that I read where they're saying, look, maybe they say something like, even if it did happen, and
Yeah,
like OJ says, if I killed
yeah,
her,
yeah. If I had done this,
if I
yeah,
had done it, what an evil book to write, bro. Evil book to write. Because the guy is, you so like, you say that woman doesn't have a family, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. But
Mhm.
anyway, um, yeah. So I think they said that look, VAR, that's not the purview of VAR or something like that along those lines. So if the referee didn't see it, so be it. It's one of those things that happens in the game. You know, still look, the ball still had a long way to go, Fari. There's still bad
Yeah,
defending, right? There's
yeah,
still bad
100%,
defending.
100%.
Yeah. So for
Yeah,
me, and then also the finish. Jude
yeah,
Bellingham. Bro. You are saying there are four. Who are your three? You said the three. There's Messi, there's Mbappe, right? There's Jude Bellingham, there's Kane, and there's Dembele, right? That's five.
yeah. I'd forgotten about Bellingham, but yeah,
Who are you talking about? You're talking about Kane, Messi, and Mbappe, right?
Haaland, Haaland.
Oh,
Before he
Haaland,
went
but
out,
Haaland's out. Haaland's
yeah.
out, yeah.
But I was saying before Haaland had Haaland up, but yeah, Bellingham is definitely now he's at least at the Belle's level, right? At the same amount of goals or something. Yeah, I
I
mean
think the
Bellingham
bet.
single-handedly kept England in this World Cup.
Yeah, he's been excellent. He's been
And we'll
just
talk
like
about
a
that tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow
he's been
because we
over.
got.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's end with the fact that Chelsea got part by Granit Xhaka. Chile. Granit Xhaka. Chelsea applied £8 million to buy Granit Xhaka from Southampton, right?
80 million. Sunderland.
Sunderland. £8 million from Sunderland. Sorry, I always get
8
those two
million
confused. I
pounds,
don't know. £8 million.
not 80.
One eight.
Eight.
Uh, Eight. Yeah, eight. Yeah, eight. So they wanted and then Sunderland accepted they
The
gave the
bid.
choice to Xhaka, and then Xhaka said, "Nah, I want to stay." Said
I
no to
mean,
Chelsea.
do you blame the guy? You're going from starting every game to becoming a number two, number three on the bench.
When you think about it, right, I don't blame him because Chelsea's not in the Champions League. If they were in the Champions League, if they were in Europe, I could say, fine, cool, I'm gonna play European football. And like he's a
Here's the
big
thing.
dog in a small pond, I guess, to being
That's what I'm
a
saying.
small dog in a big pond, I guess.
Yeah, that
But
ultimately that's like he's the opposite of Cardallo. Cardallo's going there to sit on the bench and be like, "Listen, I'm 35. I'm coming to the end of my career. Let's get whatever." Xhaka is like, "Listen, I'm 30,
35,
maybe
I'm at the end of my
something.
career. It's
Like I'm
35.
in okay, but I want to play. I want to make my rules. I want to play on a team that like I'm the guy. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm the boss. So I
yeah.
don't blame him doing that. And Chelsea trying is kind of like shot guys
It
because he
makes
knows
sense.
he's gonna be on the bench.
But I think it tells you like they need experience. They need it because remember it was last season,
Yes.
right? So I kind of like that when I see the managers are thinking like we are not just talking nonsense. You
Yeah.
said that you needed experience in that squad, and I think if that squad they need some maturity in there. I think that was
Yeah.
trying to why the biggest reason why I think they signed they wanted to sign Granit Xhaka, because so far they've made two very good signings. They've got Giovanni Quenda, right, who's
Hmm.
highly rated. He's a left right-footed left back wing back, right? He was from Sporting, and then they've got Palestri as well,
Hmm.
Palestri, and he's
Hmm.
on the other side, right? He
Hmm.
plays the right he plays right back, wing back. So that's a squad now that's building, saying that like okay fine, Xabi Alonso likes to play three at the back, and his key players are the wing backs. You know what I'm saying? If Manchester
Yeah.
United was serious, that's what they would have done with Amarin. So exactly what they've done with Amarin, right?
Yeah.
This guy plays three at the back. We need wing backs.
Right. I mean, you're not wrong, Baba. You are not wrong. But
Uh,
Amarin is now AC Milan. We'll see how he dominates in Italy.
yeah. There's a story coming out that he made a bid for Mazraoui. That's once his first signing to Mazraoui, our player.
That will put you in some deep water because I can see Mazraoui go to Italy, have some joy out there, and then what
Yeah,
happens
we need
to
him. We need him because if Dalo gets look, Mazraoui is the key for us. We need him. I love Mazraoui.
he's on the left,
Mazraoui,
right? He's on the left.
right, right. He's a right back.
Oh, he's a right back.
On the
I was
left we
thinking
got
he was
Luke
a
Shaw.
straw.
Right. On the left we got Luke Shaw and Dogu. Right.
Ooh,
On the
Dogo.
right we've got Ballon Dogu, and then on the right we've
Dogo.
got that's his nickname because of that goal against Arsenal. That guy,
Yeah.
like this guy is sick. And then on the right we've got Diego Dallo, and Mazraoui. But I like Mazraoui. I hope he starts ahead of Dallo because Dallo is
To be honest, if I'm Mazraoui and I'm guaranteed to start at AC Milan, I'm gonna be the number one regardless. I'm gonna fight for my position here at Manchester United, with Dallo and like whatever. It's like
with the
he
Champions League,
might be
bro.
like,
You stay. Or go be irrelevant in Italy. Come on, bro. Come on. Come on.
look at Xhaka.
No one
Xhaka is
watches the
showing
Italian
Xhaka.
league, bro.
Xhaka is showing it. He's like, let me stay in my Sunderland here. Who needs to be
Probably more
playing?
people, probably more people watch Sunderland than they do AC Milan at this juncture in
Uh,
time.
Amarin is trying to change that, Baba. Amarin is trying to change the whole game.
Okay, buddy. We'll see you. I will do a watch along. So if you're there, you can just comment or whatever on the France Spain. I will do a watch along on that one. Oh, you disappeared. Okay, cool. So Faris disappeared. But guys, I will be doing a watch along. So please stay tuned for that. Please turn on your notification bell, like and subscribe, guys. And so this is where we end the stream. This is where we end the stream. God bless, guys. Have a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, same time, 5 o'clock plus 2 GMT. We'll be back on 5 o'clock plus 2 GMT. Please turn on your notification bell if you want to not miss anything that's happening here. Guys. Oh, let's
Back.
get
Sorry.
let's get him back on. I was like, I was very like this right now. So I said, so I'm just wrapping up, right? So tomorrow, same time, 5 o'clock plus 2 GMT. Please, I will be there. We'll be there. We'll be on time. Actually, that sounds dope, right? Now it sounds dope and looks dope at the
Yeah.
end. I
Refresh,
don't know what's
baby.
going on. I don't know what's going
Let's
on.
keep this for
But
tomorrow. Let's keep this going for tomorrow.
let's keep it for tomorrow. I will be live streaming, sort of like watch along. If you want to watch along and you don't want to hear the commentary, that's one thing I have to say about the American World Cup that's been disappointing. The American commentators, yeah, the amount of times I have to switch off the
Yeah.
commentate. Yeah, but
Seriously.
if you want to watch along that, we can talk about. You can come in the. I also put up the what you call it, the link. So if you want to jump on and talk as well, I'll put it on for everybody. So otherwise, see you tomorrow, guys. Party, cheers, bruv. Pambeli na
Cheers.
mabubu.
Oh,
You
baby.
know.
The voice of the continent. Turn it up, turn it up. African sports guy, he's on the ball. African sports guy, he stands so tall. From the pitch to the court, he's got the vibe. African sports guy, keeping it alive.